Hello.
Welcome to Scripts and Giggles with Shoshanna
and Marnie. I don't usually say hello like that.
No, you don't.
I say hi.
You
say hi and I say hi.
What happened?
I don't know.
It was so
I'm trying something new. It's
Goodness
nearly my
me.
birthday. I'm trying to figure out who I'm going to be post my birthday.
Do you want to reveal the age?
I will never do that. Come on now. Do you know what happened to me today at work though?
Go on.
It was someone's birthday.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, oh, you don't look your age. Blah, blah, blah. I don't even know if people were trying to gas the person up or what. Anyway, let me stay out of it. Then we started talking about how old everyone was. And then people were trying to guess how old I was. And I was like, well, I'm obviously 22.
Finished.
And then,
Not to say that Marnie can't,
it's very
pass for
disrespectful.
22, but...
And then the person whose birthday was like, I didn't want to say anything, but it's literally not possible. Or if it is, then you've achieved a lot in a very short space of time. I literally graduated last year and I am working as a development producer at a company. Like, yeah, no, I don't think that's possible. But it was funny in that moment because I feel like 22 would be the age that I would say as a joke.
Yeah.
And now it is becoming like, it is literally impossible for that to be true.
Yeah, I know.
Even if I was the world's most accomplished 22-year-old, I just don't think I'd be at this point where I am in my life as a 22-year-old. I keep forgetting that you're supposed to graduate to uni when you're 21.
And actually some people graduate at 22 because...
I graduated at 22.
Yeah, unless you do, if you start later or you do a 4-year degree.
Exactly,
so
it couldn't be me. Real life Marnie at 22, she was sat in a university hall. She was definitely not applying for jobs, being like, right, we need to make some decisions about who's going to make it. No. She was too busy being like, do you know what? I'm moving to New York as soon as this year's finished. And I'm going to be Gossip Girl. That's what my life's going to be.
Oh,
Psych.
Yeah. How many times did I have dreams? Oh, I'm going to live in... I thought I was going to move to New York and live there.
So did I.
Permanently. And then... As time,
bang on graduation.
Yeah.
I thought,
no,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Graduate.
New York.
Get on a flight.
Wow.
Go to New York.
Yeah.
Get a job working at Mode magazine.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
And become a super hot fashion girl.
And then find Daniel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, I wasn't.
I love Daniel on the show. Don't say anything. Anyway, I thought I would go to New York sometime in my 20s, but not after I graduated because I was broke. I mean, broke. So I wanted to live in New York, but I thought, okay, I may not be able to go straight away. And so I'll try and find a plan, but then I'll go and live there permanently. And as time has gone on during my 20s, that time period went shorter and shorter and shorter. From like permanently to like 1 or 2 years to like 6 months. And now it'll be a nice holiday for 2 weeks. Honestly. I mean, I would love to go back. I've only been to New York once and it was for a week trip and I would like to go for longer. But
yeah, I would love to go to New York. I've never been. I think I've never been because I built it up so much in my head that like if I go now, it's like it'll be a proper like full circle moment of like you never did that thing, But you'll have. I'm not unhappy. Like I think it was the right choice. I mean, I don't. I'm sure I would have. I'm sure I could make it anywhere.
Goodness me.
Go
on, Gossip Girl.
Literally, but I definitely think my life would have been considerably different. Yeah. I actually don't think I would have stayed there.
No, I the thing is,
I would come home. Yeah. I would have had to come home.
Yeah, even moving out of London or England, there's the consideration that like family lives in the UK, friends live in the UK. Not saying I don't have amazing friends in other parts of the world, but like my core support system is in the UK, and yes, I could build a new support system, but there's no place like home. Yeah. Like famously Dorothy said in Wizard of Oz. Yeah. Yeah.
I think that was the real reason why I didn't go in the end. Yeah. If I had no links or no things holding me back, or if I had a relationship with my family where it was like, I'm gonna go, I want to be away from you guys, I'm gonna go, I would have, but I think it became quite clear to me that A, I don't have money, and B, I'm needed Here,
Yeah.
more than I'm needed in
Yeah.
New York. The streets is not calling my name so much in New York, so I think I shall stay here. And honestly, some days I'm like, this place is not it.
No, fam.
This place, if my family wasn't here,
Oh no.
this place would not be it.
I think the
If
last.
all my family decided to move to Ghana tomorrow, I'd consider it.
Would you?
Yeah.
I don't think I can say the same for Nigeria.
Every
but
single one of my family members. Yeah, I think I would genuinely consider
I
it.
don't think I could. Even though the UK, I'm telling you, the UK
I'd live there 50%
is a
of the year.
mess.
I would live there. These months, you would not see me in this country.
Yeah. That's
Sorry.
what I mean. Like the hot. Actually, no. I would come and visit Ghana because Ghana, Dirty December, looking live.
You would not see me in this country
Dirty December is
from
looking.
September to April. I will come here to celebrate birthdays
Get out.
and enjoy summer, and then as soon as I get even a little bit of a chill, actually no, as soon as my energy bill starts to climb, I'm out. Let me pack my bags and go sit in Ghana where the electricity be turning off for 2 days in a row, just sat there in the dark. Yeah, yeah. I would rather do that. Buy a generator. I can afford that. Let's do that. But I can't afford these energy bills.
No.
So I will not be here.
No.
But we said, why are we talking about this?
We're talking about New York, and then we're talking about age
Age.
and
Yes.
what we would have done,
Yeah.
and how it's not believable now to say that we are graduate ages.
Well,
I feel like I'm getting more and more. I think
the more
I
senior
think-
you get in your role is really hard.
Yeah.
That's the hard thing.
Yeah.
Because that's actually a massive tell.
What?
you have a senior role.
Yeah, it's true. It's
It's
true.
just nobody's giving it.
Yeah.
No one's making you a director of marketing
Until
at
22. I mean,
unless
some
you
some
work
people.
yourself.
Yeah, true. That is true. And also, like for instance, when I've told people where I work and where I've worked before, when you do the maths, because there's been quite a few companies and it's been for significant years, not just like job hopping every 6 months.
Ooh.
You realise no shade.
Felt like you were trying to come for something.
No. I'm
Not
just
me.
no shade. If you look, hop if you need to. Hop for the next stop, for the next, whatever you need to do to get to the next level of where you need to in your career. But I was saying that if I did the maths and talk about where I've been previously, you'll realise I'm definitely not 22. I have probably like 10 years of experience under my belt. This is my 10th year, so I can't do anything else about it.
No.
But I think it's going to be humbling when you start telling people your age and they don't go, oh, you look so young. Because at the moment, I'm really enjoying that. But the day I say the age and they're like, yeah, that looks about right, I feel like I'm going to be like, wow.
Face crack. Your face is cracked. Yeah, that's why. I said I was 27. No, I said guess, which I hate to do because I'm like, you're just going to get your feelings hurt. I mean, I've actually never ever had my feelings hurt. But I guess my age because it's always younger. But they were like, 27? And I was like, do you know what?
I'll take it.
That's decent.
Yeah.
Bit too close to my real age, actually. I want to
You
be getting
think?
25.
No, come on.
I'm ideally 22.
That being said, when our group is together, I think we could easily be 25. I mean, we get ID'd, so that means...
Do you know what's crazy today? Today I bought beers for work.
Yeah, I was going to say, where's the beer?
For work. And did not get ID'd. And then I bought wine for this. And I got ID'd.
So interesting.
By a black woman.
Oh,
She
interesting.
said, we gotta check. Black don't crack.
Oh.
And I said, how about we support our brothers and sisters?
Support black businesses,
Yeah. How about you let me go my merry way? If I've decided I want to be 12 years old and buy a bottle of Pinot Grigio, by the way, as if a child would be that classy, I think you should just let me go.
Oh, gosh.
Let me live my life.
That's
But
funny.
she ID'd me and she said, oh, you're a baby.
Oh, my God.
And I was like, why is everybody so cute to me? I am a captive baby.
And talking of babies, do we just go into pop
Yes.
culture news?
Let's get to pop culture news because we have a really, 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 really sweet one.
Yeah, we do.
For
All
once.
right.
For once.
Let's go. Dun, dun, dun,
Put the music back in because I noticed last week.
No
You
music.
didn't.
Music. No, because you know what? Because he said, let's just get the music. Let's put
I
it in.
think we need the music to be our backing track, and we're also singing the music.
I can try. I've never done it. I should just try it this week.
Well, I'm not singing this week. in protest.
I'm gonna just use the edit. The clip from last week. I'll throw in this one. You joker.
I'm not singing in protest.
Go on protest, and I will just use your audio from the previous week.
I'm not singing in protest. You can use as many audios as you like.
So done.
The listeners, who real listeners, will know that I am not singing in protest.
I've actually listened to it back without the audio. But I put
honestly, it wasn't bad.
It's just
we
different.
really did do a good rendition of the song, but it felt weird not to hear it.
I'll do it this week. Pop culture news. We'll start off with the congratulations for Keke Palmer. She had her baby boy this week.
Leo.
Oh, I didn't see the name. Oh, that's really sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice. With her boyfriend. I have no idea what his name is.
I want to say Darius.
Are we just like making up names? Does he look like a Darius or his name
I would say, I would put, how much money would I put on this?
Yeah,
30p.
That's not enough. I thought you were going to say £30.
Come on now, because I'm going to give you £30 for doing that. I think I'll put a whole pound on it.
Okay.
1 whole pound.
Alright. His name is Darius Jackson. And I have no idea what he does.
Neither do I.
He works in both fitness and entertainment industries.
What does that mean?
No idea. He's
an entertaining personal trainer?
yeah.
Or he's a fit?
All it just says he works in both the fitness and entertainment industry. I'm sure he does stuff, but no idea what it is. But she seems very happy.
No, they do.
They do, yeah.
They do.
It's like everything felt very quiet. I mean, of course she announced her pregnancy during SNL last year, but she was far along, so her giving birth now is not a surprise, but yeah. Yeah.
That's the thing about being pregnant, which is crazy. There's just like a period where you're like not showing, it's not a big deal. Then you're just like pregnant.
Yeah.
And then you're like ready to go for like a month.
Yeah.
Just waiting.
Yeah.
I cannot get my head around that, like, will it be today?
I know. You're just waiting and
waiting. I'm going to hospital the minute.
No, the minute you feel one kick, it's time.
The minute I'm like, it's been enough months that the baby is full term.
Oh, it's time to go.
Get it out.
No, but I mean, even sometimes...
Let's wrap this up.
When some mums, their water breaks, they still have to wait a bit because the baby's not fully dilated.
Yeah, they're ready to go.
Yeah, but...
I'm saying they're ready to go.
And they're like, no.
Yeah,
Mom,
I'm doing an elective cesarean, come collect the baby. Yeah, because I don't want it inside of my body anymore.
I'm so...
How dare you? Sounds like what you're saying to me. Is that you're trying to force me to stay pregnant?
No, I think the baby's saying, no, I'm not ready to go
and I'm
yet.
saying, I'm ready.
And it's like, no, Mom, I decide.
saying,
you brought me here. I'll tell you when I'm ready to go out.
I'm ready for this baby to come on out.
And
okay?
I'm perfectly honest. By the time the baby's in, it's your fault. You brought the baby in. So...
What do you mean it's my fault? Did I make the baby by myself?
Yeah, you and your husband did it.
Yeah, and me and my husband have discussed, and it's time for the baby to come out.
And actually the baby was like, but I'm also part of this conversation, and I am not ready to go, so I'm going to stay in here, keep on feeding me, and I'm going to get fat and chubby.
I'll be doing all those things that they tell you on the I
so,
eat gooseberries,
I
eat peppers, foods. Yeah, just get this baby on out.
So done. I mean, I know that, especially the first baby is supposed to be a harder pregnancy, like more overdue, and the baby is normally late, but...
Yeah, I was late.
I was late too. Like
not like massively late.
I was quite a few weeks late.
Weeks?
Yeah.
I was a couple of days.
No, my birthday was supposed to be like not when it is now.
Mine was not supposed to be when it is now, but I was still going to be the same
month.
Yeah, same month, and I think the same star sign.
Oh, I don't care about star sign stuff. I mean, I knew it was going to be earlier in the year versus where I am now. That makes it sound like
again.
The vagueness.
You thought you were going to be Jan, but you're actually an August baby. Like, you was in there for 6 extra months.
I thought it was going to be closer to be celebrating like a New Year birthday versus a...
why would you like that?
No, actually. Exactly. I actually don't mind. I mean, that being said, having a January birthday is not ideal because it is cold. Unless you go for a winter sun, like, holiday. Everyone's kind of broke because after Christmas and New Year.
Yeah.
And I get a lot of, like, combined gifts.
Yeah.
And also, all my gift giving period is in one concentrated moment. I don't want to get a gap. So I get Christmas, my birthday, and New Year's. It's all collated. So all my
Why
gifts.
get gifts on New Year's?
No, I mean, I'm just trying to say all the celebration period
Yeah.
is just in one small
It's too
window.
It's too much seeing your family.
Yeah.
As much as I just said I stayed here in this country with my family, I don't want to, like, Christmas, New Year's, and then my birthday straight afterwards.
Wow, that's a lot.
My aunt's birthday is on the 28th
Or January.
of December. And we would have spent all Christmas Day, sometimes most of Christmas Eve and Boxing Day.
Yeah.
And then when it gets to 28th, she's like, let's do something. I'm like, I don't want to see you.
No.
And it's awful because it's your birthday and actually it's a separate thing.
Yeah.
But we've seen each other recently.
That window is even tighter. You have 1 week of joy.
Literally.
Christmas, your birthday, New Year, done.
Why is New Year choice? I
don't hate it. I think I like New Year's because it gives you kind of like a refresh. Like, this is the start of something new. It feels so right to be. This could be the start.
End the podcast right now. This is the last Grits and Giggles because I don't know how much longer I can do this with you.
How could I have done an Ariana DeBose rap to start off something new from High School Musical?
Actually, please, Ariana was more musical.
How dare you?
You did a spoken word is what you did. You didn't do a rap, you did a spoken word.
Shoshanna did that thing, okay?
I did do the thing.
No, I did the thing.
No, I did the thing.
I'm done.
Right, you do the thing, I'm the woman king. That's fine.
Yeah, that's
that makes sense. That actually makes sense.
Anyway, congratulations to Keke.
Yes.
Because as I'm doing the thing, I'm also moving the podcast along. So next thing...
You actually broke my heart.
I'm
You're
so
the
sorry.
part of the song where she says, Danielle, D, you broke my heart. That's
I'm
where
so
you are.
sorry.
That's where you are. Shoshanna, you broke my heart.
I'm so sorry.
Marnie, you are all of us. Cringing.
Oh gosh. Talking of things that are cringe. Love Island winter in general. Did you like that segue? Yeah,
that was smooth.
Yeah. I mean, it has been cringe, especially the last couple of weeks. I'm kind of thankful that we're near in the end. Thankfully.
We're not close enough.
I know, we've got about 2 more
If you
weeks.
ask me, I think a couple more people should be at home.
Yeah, well, we're not going to have much of a villa.
Good. Good. That's what I want. Wrap it up early is what I'm saying.
Well, actually, it should finish. It should have been done by the end of February. Honestly. After you've done Casa Amor movie night, you have the blowout from movie night, you're done. Pick your winners and go.
I actually agree. That's what I feel like. Movie night to me is always like, okay, we're going
there in
home.
the end, yeah.
And the idea that we have another 2 weeks is making me really sad.
But
well, actually, it's a week and a half. Not 2.
Yeah, but still, I've noticed the reason why I'm also finding this series really not as engaging, because I'm not really watching every day. I'm just jumping in. I'm jumping in when I can. Like, work has been busy over the last couple of weeks, so
I'm not watching every day, and I'm not even seeing tweets.
No.
Like, come summer, my Twitter is just
blowing.
You can't help but either you're watching the episode or you're getting a blow-by-blow account on Twitter, in which case you don't need to watch the episode because you've watched the episode essentially. And I feel like I'm seeing 1 or 2 people tweet every now and then, not even on a daily basis.
No. On TikTok, there's a couple of people that do like proper debriefs, but it's a 1 minute roundup, and that's perfect. Yeah, I don't need the 30-minute roundup. 1 minute is enough. Also,
I just feel like there are no it's just not juicy enough for me to want to come in every day. No. Or there'll be like one thing. I don't care enough about these contestants to even want to keep track of anyone in particular. I don't know. It's just not working for me.
No. Well, I think it's also not been working for ITV because they have canned Love Island Winter moving forward. This is the second time they cancelled it.
RIP.
Yep. RIP indeed. But as they announced the cancellation of Love Island Winter, they also announced that Series 10, which will be next year, will be Love Island All-Star.
Next year, not this summer?
Not this summer, no.
We're not having a Love Island this summer.
No, we are having this summer, but it's not going to be Love Island All-Stars. which will be what season 10. Actually, this is season 10.
So we are having it this year.
So it's in honor of the 10th year. So the 10th season is this year and this summer. They will then do an All Stars, which will be next year. So it's still in development. Dates have not been confirmed. We don't know if it'll be like this time next year, which would then just be another Love Island winter, or if it'll be next summer. So it'll be like Love Island Series 11. It's still in development and it's up in the air, but that's planned. But yeah, 10 years of Love Island.
And it's the idea it will be ex-Love Islanders who are single.
Yeah, basically a perfect match.
Back on the show.
Yeah. Who would you want to see?
Who would I want to see, or who do I think would be good TV?
Bit of both. Ideally both, because you want to see...
Everyone from Amber's season.
Yeah, true.
And
Bar Molly May.
Bar Molly May and old dude who just did a boxing match.
Oh, Tommy Fury.
Tommy. They're good though. They don't need to come on.
Yeah, no.
Because they're good.
Yeah,
they're still together.
bring the baby as a visit. For the baby challenge.
And then I think to bring the baby, period. The baby should be... Well, that's how you're going to end it. The baby should just be on the season. We need a more useful representation on the show.
No, bring the baby when they're doing the baby challenge to kind of like, again, show the celebration of how Love Island has found love for couples.
It'll be an interesting season simply because it will actually end up probably being the oldest season.
Yeah.
Because everyone on it will at least be over the age of 21 for sure.
Which would be really nice and refreshing.
Yeah. It would be a good season simply for that, let alone...
Oh, but they could still be messy. Like for some of these people, this is like the second time they've been on TV.
Well, they should get Jordan. Who's Jordan again? Oh, God, yes. I think they should get... Michael. I actually think Michael.
Michael who? Oh yeah, Michael.
I think they should get Michael. They should get all of Destiny's Childish actually.
Oh, yeah, bring them all on.
And not give them what they want, just a single white girl. Not one single white girl.
Limit the blonde girls.
Have literally 18 mixed race boys and no white blonde girls. Oh, I can't wait to see them eating their own tails.
So funny. I would like them to, if we're going to bring something more recently, I'd definitely bring Tanya from this season. From the winter one.
Oh, you're saying that. You're not even going to let her breathe.
No, come on down.
You're saying Tanya... Yeah, everyone else is getting on the plane apart from you because we need you to start filming the next one.
No, not Tanya. Sorry, Tanya. Zara.
No, we can't have people who are... I feel like you need to start with people who were, made it quite far in their season.
I think that Zara is someone who's iconic. I mean, this season wasn't iconic, so it's hard for anyone to be iconic.
Come on now. Get the twins.
Yeah, I want Ekin-Su and Davide because I think they'll be single by that point.
You have very low expectations.
Oh, yes. The 1 year contract is ending soon.
I think I would like to see...
Samira. I'd like to see Samira.
Properly started watching from... It's so weird because I feel like I watched the first 3 seasons, then stopped.
Oh, yeah.
Then I started watching Kem and... Oh, what's his name? Season. I started watching Kem's season because he was doing the Love Island podcast. And they were like... I was like, who is this guy?
Did he keep on referencing his time on the show?
Yeah. No, well, they mentioned that he'd won his season. And I was like, oh, well, now I'm really curious.
Who was the person name? Was it Amber? It's not Amber,
Amber and Kem.
Yeah.
And then I haven't finished that.
Yeah.
And then I started watching properly again. And the season that I watched that was on at the same time was Amber's. Everything else I watched retroactively.
What was Danny's season?
The year before.
Yeah, so that's when I started watching. Actually, I don't think I even started watching from the beginning. Yeah.
And I remember seeing all of the tweets about it and I was like, oh, should I get into this? But I was being a bit of a snob. And then, started watching Amber's season and just absolutely hooked. Yeah,
I think I watched Amber's season from the very beginning. I watched Danny's season probably like 1 or 2 weeks in. And then, because my sister was watching it and she loved it. But anything before that I didn't watch.
We need... I can't remember his name. The guy who was coupled up with Amy who really thought it was important to make everyone coffees in the morning.
Oh, the one with the famous dance.
Curtis.
Curtis. Those hips. Like, bring him back just for that dance challenge.
Bring
Curtis back.
Bring Curtis back.
Bring Curtis back.
Bring back that guy who last season did the worm.
Charlie. Bring him back.
From one end of the villa to the other. Get him. We had the ultimate dance challenge. Yes. Who else was it? Who else was getting people's hearts racing?
I mean, I love it. I know it was more. I know it's a talent show. I remember India when she did the recorder, and I literally laughed so hard. It was so funny. But yeah, Curtis with the hips, Charlie with the worm. I don't think I remember anyone else who was like super embarrassing.
I know that Amy's couple. Like, I think she's actually fiancé now, but. I thought she was such great TV.
Yeah,
I was coming back here to tell you I loved you.
Yeah.
I think about that all the time.
She sounds like she should be on EastEnders. 100%. She should be with Danny Dyer.
100%. That line reading is in the same category as Juliana being like, do you know whenever we have sex and you say it's the best sex of your life?
Oh my god.
And I don't say anything.
Oh my god.
It's because for me, it's not that good. It's not my blood.
How could she embarrass him that badly?
She was
oh my
wild.
Goodness me. Honestly.
Just people with just the best line read. When even before that, when Amy was talking to the girls about how like, yeah, I think I'm going to tell Curtis I love him. And all the girls are like...
Do you want to do that?
And then someone's talking to her about like, well, do you know if Curtis feels about how Curtis feels about you? And Maura's like, why are you asking her that? He obviously doesn't. He obviously doesn't.
I've forgotten Maura.
Iconic.
Bring Maura.
Bring Maura back.
Bring Wes. Bring actually no, Megan is with someone, with a woman.
Love that for her.
Yeah.
2 days. 2 days. We've been coupled up for 2 days. Tell me you love me 2 days. Gotta bring Anna back. Yeah. I'm telling you, just bring everyone back. That was such a good season. It was so juicy.
Do you bring Faye and get more? I mean,
no.
Faye and Teddy did break up.
No. Don't ask.
Who else from that? Kaz. I like Kaz coming. I mean, I don't know how I feel about the black girlies coming. Like, unless there's some really nice black guys coming to help. Actually, why are we only limiting you to black guys? Unless we have the guys who really are open to all people.
There are none.
I know. You know what, Kaz? Stay at home and enjoy yourself.
No, but this is what I'm saying. You bring back all the mixed race boys. Yeah. You only put black girls on.
And then watch chaos.
Now what?
Chaos.
Now what? Because sometimes you don't even know if the situation is being manipulated by the fact that they know there's a blonde-haired, blue-eyed girl about to come in. Or is it that they genuinely don't find these girls attractive? Because some of these girls are knockouts. You're not going to tell me that this girl's blinking her eyelashes at you would not be like, wow, she's kind of stunning, I guess. Like, I just think it's fake.
I know.
I'm not buying it. Anyway, All Stars is for chaos. That's why I don't care if any of the black girls come back or not. Yeah. Because they know what they're getting themselves into this time.
But that's how I feel about any black contestants. Since we all cottoned on that the mask wasn't mapping.
No, because every single person who goes on there thinks they're special.
Yeah, and that's my problem, because you think you're special, then 6 weeks down the line you're crying on the daybed saying, why does no one like me and woe is me? No, I'm sorry, I can't feel sorry for you.
And as I said
and you have so much sauce outside of this villa, because all the guys on the villa are like 2s and you're a 10.
As I said before, when we talked about this, just tell yourself this. At the end of the day, no matter what happens, I'm not going to cry over a white man on national television. I'm not going to do it. I'm not... A black man also, I won't. Not on Love Island. Not on Love Island. I cannot shed a tear on this show. Yeah. And if they even catch me slipping, even if they clock 1 tear, me and those producers are fighting. You're going to have to carry me out as Villa. I'm so sorry, you're not going to catch me, a whole black woman who's watched several seasons of this show, to go and be on the show in my little bikini, shaking in my heels, quaking in my heels, crying over a boy.
I'm so
Come on now. I wouldn't even cry. The thing is, I wouldn't cry over you if I was at home.
No, that's the thing.
So why am I going to cry over you here?
These girls, you have so much chances outside of the villa. I know you're going to go on there for exposure, Instagram followers and the PLT deal, but it ain't worth it, boo.
Cry.
Your self-esteem.
Real tears.
No, don't do it.
Real tears.
No, they should bring back the girl that interesting. Like Rachel.
They should do a season where they bring back all the bombshells who didn't get to land.
Yeah.
And then it should be about... Yeah. They should be the OGs.
It's your second chance.
Yeah.
It shouldn't even be called All Stars. It should be called Second Chance at Love.
That sounds awful. Shall we talk about one other dating show?
Oh, God, goodness, because it's in the same realm.
Perfect Match was concluded.
Yes.
Final 4 episodes, I think.
Yeah.
Or more, maybe.
Yeah.
Were in the same keeping as previous, in that they were just pure chaos.
Yeah.
Shane and Chloe, at some point, Shane was trying to fight Chloe over... No, it was funny because basically Shane was like, yeah, no, low-key was actually kind of fucked up that you jumped in the pool and you were laughing when you chose Mitchell over me.
Yeah,
and
because I got splashed.
Obviously, I'm sorry about that, and I didn't know that happened to you, but yeah, I'm sorry. And he's like, no, but it's actually still kind of fucked up. And she was like, yeah, okay, well, I said sorry anyway. What else do you want me to say? He's like, because you was laughing as well. He was actually laughing as well, and she was like, I've said sorry.
Well,
Why do you keep bringing it up?
I have to defend, or I have to be on the side of Chloe, because I have no idea what else she could do.
Drop it!
Like, no, literally, she didn't know that you were there. She thought you had gone. She's enjoying her time with Mitchell.
What he wanted her to say was like, yeah, I'm going to be honest with you, we knew he was down there, you know, and we thought, let's get him. Listen, I didn't know he was down there, and now I know, and I've said sorry. So what do you want me to do? I cannot go back in time and change the situation. He's now left the room. I'm going. I'm going off the show. But the craziest thing is, he's now walked into Dom and George's room to be like, I'm leaving.
No, also he said, I'm going to get my stuff. And walked into the room. I was like, I was so confused. Is your luggage
He's
in
drunk.
Dom? Yeah.
He's drunk. It's just like in Love is Blind when it was like, Bunties was talking to Nancy about, oh yeah, we're going to have kids, I don't know. And he's like, hold on, I'm getting a phone call. And it's like, dude being like, they're in the club till 4, I don't give a fuck, I'm going home. And he's like, I have to go and talk to my boy. All of this is stupid.
Nuts. And they're still together. Not Nancy and Bartiz, but the other guy, Matt and...
Colleen.
Yeah.
Well, good luck to her. So he goes into George and Dom's room, and then Chloe comes in. Where are George and Dom? Fast asleep. And then comes Chloe and Shane being like, yeah, we're in the middle of the fight. Georgia goes to sleep in Chloe's... No, they let Chloe come and sleep in their room so that Shane can be by himself and collect his thoughts. Stupid fight.
It's so stupid.
So we're saying at the end, perfect match. Shut up.
Oh, that was messy. When they were like, oh, so do you think they're a perfect match? I'm like, and she was like, absolutely. I was like, on what planet are you guys perfect matches? You both, I think that they're both eccentric, the two of them. But Chloe, I will say that I think Chloe has a good head on her shoulders.
Yeah, I like Chloe.
Whereas Shane seems really unstable for a number of different reasons. And perhaps I just think that he's got a lot of influences.
I like Chloe a lot, but I also feel like the nature of the show was you're not going to get to the end and say you're not a perfect match.
Yeah. I mean, you could do what Francesca did and was like, no, I have no perfect match.
Yeah, no, they wanted to win the show.
Yeah. And
I feel like, of course you do if you're on a show. Because what's to stop us both leaving and then continuing this relationship in our house? That's true. We want to win the show.
I mean, Chloe's really won the show. She won the
circle. And I want to win this as well.
Yeah, I want to win them all. There was interesting, going back to Francesca, about her dynamic, especially in the last couple of episodes. Because when we left her at the end of episode 8, she was coupled up with Abby from 20-somethings Austin. And then that
was so weird.
It got weird. And it got gaslighty as well.
She made out with Carousel.
Yeah.
And then obviously Abby was like, yeah, I didn't like that. And she was like, well, I don't know if I like you if you don't like that.
Yeah.
I was like, sorry.
It
You're acting like the world standard isn't to be like uncomfortable if your partner is kissing someone else. And she's just like, well, we're friends, so it doesn't matter. And it's like, well, it does matter. Yeah. Because I think I would also feel a type of way if I was dating a guy and he was like, when I get drunk, though, I like sort of finger my friend's butthole, but it's fine. It's fine. We're friends. It's fine.
Yeah.
I think I'd be like, I don't know if that's what I want.
Yeah.
So then they part ways. But you're right. Francesca makes it seem like, Abby's crazy.
Yeah, which I kind of felt sorry for her, Abby in that sense, because I felt like, well, maybe it's more, she's a bit more naive that, you know, the relationship with her and Francesca was something authentic and real, especially given that Francesca was the only person who was of the same orientation as her.
No, Carousel.
Yeah, Carousel, but Carousel was locked in that relationship with Joey.
But still.
Yeah, okay. Well, in this case, we can see how it wasn't, because Carousel and Francesca were making out. I don't know why that scene made me feel like, is this supposed to be like an authentic or good representation of bisexuality?
Also, why had that not happened at all throughout the show?
Yeah.
Until Francesca was coupled up with Abby.
Yeah.
So either that was happening throughout the show and they just didn't show it, or she decides, today's the day I want to make out with Carousel. And the way when she was talking to Abby, she was like, yeah, we do this. As this is something that they do all the time.
Maybe.
So...
I don't
know.
Yeah, there's a couple of questions around that.
The editing. Yeah. There's other things that I think that they left out towards the end that I was like, yeah. There's a running thing on RuPaul's Drag Race where at the end of every season, there's a girl who's like, the show is making it look like I was a meanie, but actually I had several scenes where I was nice to all the girls. And so it's got to the point where RuPaul's made a song called Blame It on the Edit, where it's basically saying all these girlies want to blame it on the edit, but you actually did say it. So there's nothing like, we didn't invent a scene.
Yeah,
this
exactly. Also, there's no smoke without the fire, honestly.
But I did find myself towards the end of this series being like, I feel like you guys might be purposely omitting a couple of things.
Well, to make Francesca look bad, or just in general?
In general, so that we would get So, spoiler alert, we're about to reveal the winner.
Boom.
Dom and Georgia win.
Yeah.
And I feel in that, specifically so towards the end they have all of the ex-people who've been on Perfect Match come back to like rile up the couples like one final time. And Dom, Georgia and Inez are conspicuously not featured in that episode. Like Inez, we see them come in, we see like a look between Dom and Georgia like, uh-oh, and that's it. You don't see them again. The rest of the episode becomes about Bartice and Izzy, who gives a fart.
I'm sorry, Bartice. If Bartice hasn't shown his true colours by that point, just see how he was behaving with Abby. The way that he dragged her, like, was like, oh,
mad.
You know, the way
you came on the show because you're worried about how people look at you. That's
and
what
your family, and because you've only just come out. I'm like, how dare you? Oh, Bartice is
again, like trash. I said when we talked about it. There are a lot of people on this show who needed to go to therapy before they came onto another dating show. Yeah. And all we got to see again, and this is why I think it's interesting, because again, if you want to blame it on the edit, you've done this in 2 different shows now. So it is you.
It's you.
This very like below the belt, using your personal shit against you. Like when Nancy and Bartice had the conversation about abortion, and to her face he was like, yeah. And then was like, the next time we saw them, he was like, yeah, I'm no longer attracted to her because she said that thing about abortion. I was like, it feels like a really weird about face, because you didn't have this energy when you spoke about it, but now you're saying you're not even attracted to her, which I think is a big thing. You need to be having sex with me every day, and then suddenly you're like, disgusting, you're disgusting to me.
No shade, I think he wasn't attracted to her.
From the beginning. And
it was like, let me just find some type of thing to anchor that on, so I can have my excuse when I say no at the altar.
No, he is a snake, and through. Like, honestly, the fact that any of the girls came on the show and were like, he's so charming, he's got a beautiful smile. One thing I will say, he's got back.
A body?
Yeah, he's got back.
I just, because his attitude was so horrible, I wasn't like...
It's hard to... I mean, the hair...
Oh yeah, because he's
from
got...
the neck up,
he may have a back, but he's got like a tower on top of his head.
From the neck up, nah. It's not doing nothing for me. But he does have bum. You know, you have to respect it.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's like, you may have butt, but it's attached to a really awkward
No, I mean,
personality.
what I'm saying is, if the girls was like, you know what, he is a garbage person, but he has bum. I'll be like, yeah, I see where you're coming from. It's when they were like, yeah, he's so charming and sweet. I was like,
no.
His dates were like interviews. So where do you work? What the fuck? Why do you care?
Yeah. No.
I'm on a reality TV show. Where the fuck do you think I work? Kind of stupid question is that? Yeah, no, I work for the council. Shut up. I obviously don't work anywhere other than reality TV. because I'm on the reality TV show with you. Where do you work? And get my accountancy license. Oh, he's so disgusting.
I know.
Sorry.
It was self promo for him.
How can I be crying? How can you be crying on TV over a man who works as an accountant?
Oh,
No shade to accountants.
No.
I'm just not going to be crying.
No, I think it's the way he really just leaned into her backstory and tries to use it against her. I was like, come on.
So he could couple up with Izzy,
and
who he binned off.
Yeah.
Like, I just feel like he came on here. He has no clue what he wants.
Yeah.
But really does like to put himself in a position where he thinks he's better than the person he's matched with.
Yeah.
That's what it is. He had that thing with Inez. Even that moment with Abby where he was like, yeah, you're obsessed with how people look at you. Look, but I don't care about that. I don't care about that. He thinks he's doing every single woman that he's coupled up with a favour. Watch when he comes out in 2 years.
You get humbled.
Watch when he comes out. No, I mean, he comes out as gay.
No, I don't think he will.
Wait.
I don't think he will.
I say wait. He's giving me very much Drake energy.
He does have Drake
Drake closeted homosexual.
I definitely have the Drake energy because I think he likes the idea of being a villain to women. But
What do you mean he likes it? I think he likes the idea of being a
he
villain.
likes the idea like some girls love him and some girls don't. I think Barty just likes the idea of his voice.
Yeah.
And feeling that his voice is the voice of reason and also like the voice of authority for women. So as a result, he wants the women to fawn over him. And the minute the woman is like, nah, that's not how it works and you're out of line, that's when he would just go low for no apparent reason. And Drake give me that vibe too.
I just think, Bartiz is such an unpleasant person in general. And he's very good at appearing like he's not unpleasant. It's the same with Shane. I think this is how all these guys got on the show, is that they appear like they're perfectly normal people. And then it turns out they're deeply, deeply flawed, which is a really good segue into our review of the week, which we're not going to go into yet, but similar, there are similar themes. One last thing I wanted to draw attention to is, so the final way they chose, which I don't know how I feel about this either, is everybody who had participated on Perfect Match got to vote for who they thought was a perfect match. At this ceremony. At the ceremony, it's revealed that Carousel and Joey have got engaged.
That one was wild. I'll be honest, when he was talking and then he went down on one knee, I said, I don't know how I feel about this because this show is crazy, but we need a love story because I don't buy any of the stories here.
I think it's because I didn't like them.
Yeah.
I read that as this will secure our win.
Yeah. I mean, we both predicted they were going to win.
Yeah.
Because they were the only couple that stayed consistent from day one.
Yeah.
But then they also had a relationship beforehand. So, but maybe they are each other's perfect match.
So, before they got to vote, they had all the couples who were remaining discuss their relationships.
Yeah.
And then they just sort of threw it to the crowd, which I was like, this is messy as fuck, but I live for it.
I actually love that.
I live for it.
Yeah.
The only thing I didn't get was Chase had a lot of vim for Dom and Georgia. Yeah. He was like, I don't care what nobody says, they're the fakest people in here. How can Dom love two people at once after he was just backing
Francesca?
Chloe and
Chloe and
Shane when Chloe had left one guy for another guy.
Mitchell, yeah.
And also backing himself for doing very much the same thing. He was like, I just don't care. I don't care what anyone says. I don't buy it. It's fake. I don't buy it. It's fake. I feel like, this is my honest opinion, none of those couples were 100%.
No.
All of them have been exaggerated because they're on a show and whoever is the most compatible wins, right? So I think everyone was playing a game.
Yeah.
And I said this last time we spoke about Perfect Match, and I say it again. The game that Dom and Georgia played, I liked the most.
Well, I actually thought they would be compatible and it could be a real relationship.
Yeah, same. The way they presented themselves, the way they played the game, I liked. I was the most confident in them, and I liked how they were together. I think my issue with Carousel and Joey is I don't think they were. The energy that they sparked in each other, I didn't like it. It felt very volatile and unpleasant.
Yeah.
They seem to love it because I think they're both messy people.
Yeah.
Whereas Dom and Georgia to me seem quite level-headed, seem quite good-natured, and seem quite fun. And I thought, this is kind of like, if I was going to pick a couple that I wanted to be like, this is what people should fashion relationships after, it would be them. So I was happy for them to win, regardless, to an extent, regardless of whether or not it was real. Yeah. Because they've been on this show for, 2 weeks max?
Yeah, that was crazy.
They've known each other for 2 weeks max, and also the aim of the show was to couple up with someone. So it's like, how real is any of this?
It's hard because I assumed, especially after Carousel and Joey got engaged, that it was like a done deal. Like, they're gonna win. And then when they didn't, I was like, well, that's a slap in the face.
Yeah. But again, I get why it wasn't a slap in the face. They shouldn't have even revealed that information, to be honest. No. They should have kept that to themselves. Yeah. They thought that would secure the votes. Actually, I think people went, so you found each other. You don't need to win the show.
That is also true.
And so people went for, who do we like the most? That's how I think the vote came down to. Who do we like the most? We like you two.
Yeah. It basically became the circle. It's the thing with this show, and when we talk about ratings, we can discuss, like, what I struggled with is understanding if this is a dating show or a social experiment. Because,
it was a competition.
Yeah, it was a competition. You had someone like Will, who forgot that he wasn't on the mole anymore, coming in as if he was still on the mole, trying to
his energy on the mole was not even that aggressive. No. This was more aggressive than he was on the mole. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been happy that he won.
Yeah, that's true. Because he was building tactics of like how we could win, trying to go to Francesca, going, we could be an amazing match. You know, let's unite together to win this. A day before the finale. Yeah, it just didn't make sense.
They wouldn't have won.
And then I was actually really surprised when Francesca left. But I think it's because
so was I.
She knew maybe that she was too deep with Damien. And Damien obviously gave her the ick. Like, how many scenes when you saw like Damien would like kiss her on the cheek or kiss her in certain places, and her face was telling.
She's a really interesting character because she's not as good a liar as she thinks she is.
No.
And I said last week, and I will say again this week, I don't think she likes dudes. I don't think she can play the game of liking dudes.
She's currently in a relationship on TikTok with her boyfriend.
Yeah, on TikTok. I don't buy it. Every guy in there would have given her the ick. There's not one guy in there that wouldn't. Even Will being like, we could have made it all the way to the end. It's about whether or not the two of you could pretend that you liked each other all the way to the end. But I don't believe that she could maintain it.
No. Every guy pursued her. She never really had to do much of the chase.
She didn't. All she had to do, if it was that easy, is stick with Dom.
Yeah.
But she couldn't do it. She didn't like them. No. And that's why she ended up going home in the end. Because now they've even brought Damien, who you have, apparently you say you have chemistry with, and you still can't even force it. You can't force it.
But Damien,
she's not really about it. I personally feel like I could go on Perfect Match and win it.
Damien, though, that's the thing.
Because I can force it.
Onto the end.
Oh, baby, you're so funny.
To the end.
Yeah.
I think after a while you get sick of it. I think
only my friends would know I was forcing it.
Yeah.
If you didn't know me, you'd be like, she must really like him. She must really like him.
I'd be like, behind closed doors. That's when.
As soon as we get in that room and we turn the thing off, I'm putting the pillow down the side. Don't ever look at me or touch me in your life. Are you mad?
I'm so finished.
That would be my energy. And as soon as we're out again, I'd be like, baby, you're so funny.
I'm actually
You're funny, baby.
I'm done.
I love your abs.
Yeah.
Please. Actually, I'm lying.
Honestly, I think she got to that point where she's realised it ain't worth it.
I would be able to, this one, if you know, right, I can't force it.
Yeah.
You've got to go in with the energy of like, I'm just like not very affectionate person. Like my way of flirting is like calling you ugly and stupid.
You neck him onto the very end. Yeah. But I don't think that will get you to win.
Because if you lose it, like if you get a day where you're just, I'm not feeling this, people can still interpret it as, she's flirting with him.
But that's what Chloe and Shane may have potentially could have been, but Shane is wired to not get it.
Yeah, and he couldn't. I don't know.
It was like controlling, self-obsessed, self-absorbed, but also he wants to be loved because he didn't want to be rejected like he was in the altar. Let us not forget what you were talking to Natalie about.
Go to therapy.
Honestly.
If you're so triggered now by the idea of rejection, that this is how you can't even get through a conversation without freaking out, you need to go to therapy because clearly what happened in that show really affected you.
Yeah. And I felt sorry for Chloe because she was having to wear this and hold this burden for a guy that she only met a couple of days ago.
A burden that she doesn't even fully understand.
No, and because she has not seen the show. She's not the show. I think why this show is interesting, and the premise I still love in terms of bringing together talent from other Netflix shows into one place. But I think why this particular season has worked in terms of getting these villains back, the Batiste, the Batiste and the Shanes of this world, and them still being able to couple with people, is because they have not seen the show. Right. So it was timed perfectly.
But there was that bit in the beginning where Francesca said, "Oh, I didn't see you and Natalie working out. She doesn't seem like your type." Yeah, so unless she'd seen the ads, maybe some of them seem to have seen stuff, and some of them seem like they didn't. Anyway, yeah. What was you had a hot take?
I had a hot take. It was more revisionist history, because in the last review I was really backing Dom. Like, Dom is amazing. He's so sweet. It was nice to see him in this like arena where I liked him on the Mole, and I think he should have gone further.
Yeah, he went home too soon.
He did, and I think he was seen as a threat. I still stand by that. But watching him on this show, especially with the black girlies, in hindsight, I realised it was just rubbing me the wrong way.
A bit problematic.
It was 100%. Okay, of course, it was very narrow-minded for all the contestants. However much they tried or not tried, they kept on pairing the black contestants with each other. Like the last, I think it was episode 9, where they had to like match Diamond with someone. Yeah. And I mean,
they chose that guy again.
Yeah, they chose the guy again. I mean, on the screen you had Shane and then 3 other like mixed race or black guys. So of course she was gonna get matched with one of the guys of colour. But I think it just showed how narrow-minded that all the black contestants were just being put in the box of, oh, well, you only like black contestants. Therefore, Dom was continuously being pulled on dates with black women. And he didn't fancy them and he wasn't interested in them. Yeah. Which is not a problem, because we all have preferences. No. However...
I do think it's a problem.
Yeah, it is a problem.
I think it's weird.
Yeah, it is a problem in terms of all the guys having a preference that is not a woman of colour, because all the men really matched up very quickly with the white contestants, and all the black girlies were left for dust. So when Connolly and Anne-Sophie left the villa for the last time, so this was at the end when all the contestants from the previous from the season came back, when they were leaving, Don was like, good luck girls, know your worth, or good luck queens, know your worth. Yeah. I telling you, I squirmed. Even when he had that date with Connolly and he spent the time going, I'll strategize how to like find you the guy that you would like, i.e. the black contestant.
Yeah, and then introduce her to Batiste. So she's a queen. Yeah. She has her own business. Like, she's a boss-ass bitch.
And then I just remembered one big other thing from the date, and that, again, rubbed me the wrong way. With the date with Connolly, when he said that, he would happily, like, look after the kids and be a house husband.
What's wrong with that, though?
I don't think it's a problem, but I just think it was so odd.
Because she said she had a job.
Yeah, like, it was the next thing he said, it was like, well, I can stay at home with the kids and I'm more than happy to like reverse our roles, which is not it's not a problem.
As in, you feel like the implication was that like there's something masculine about the fact that she has a job.
Yes, but also
like it's masculinizing.
No, I don't think it's like even the masculinizing of it. I made that word up.
No, I don't know. I think that's
but I'm just saying, it's like, watch him on his dates with the Georges and the Francescas and the other white contestants.
He's asking them what their favourite colours are.
Yeah, versus asking her where she's working, and he's willing to be the stay-at-home dad. I don't think it's wrong, because if you find a guy and you want to do that, then fine. But it's just the fact that he wants to take such a subservient role and get a strong, hard-working queen to go and do the work. And I don't know. I just felt like he was trying to blow up a stereotype about black women and look at them away from their feminine energy. Yeah, maybe it's the whole.
I think it's the same energy. With the work with the where we've got to where we're calling everyone queens and kings. Yeah. I think there's a word for it and I can't remember, but like, I don't think it's tokenized. Basically makes it like we can't have conversations with each other about being like, how are you doing, king? Listen, my queen, in a way that others are still.
Yeah.
And we're not actually connecting. You're not actually speaking to me like you would speak to another human being.
Yeah.
You're saying, I'm putting you on a pedestal because you're a queen, because you're black, because you're a queen. At the same time, you don't see me as a romantic interest.
Yeah.
And you think, and you're trying to tell me I deserve the world. You're telling me that you will be a house husband so that I can go out and earn the bread because I'm a woman who is an independent woman and has a job, and that's the most important thing to me. Not allowing me to say what it is that I might want, which is I'm working and I'm an independent woman because I have to be. But ideally, if I had a partner, we'd figure it out.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not saying that by force I must be the one who's working, but why are we even having this conversation
on a first date
that
you've just met this woman? It just felt so out of touch. And then when you added the whole like, know your worth, queens, I was like, goodness me, this is giving me Trevor Noah when he like thanks black women on the final episode of his show and giving that shout out. And I was thinking, as much as I love Trevor Noah, and for the people that do know me know that he's one of my celebrity crushes, but that comment and that speech he made, however lovely it is to really put and celebrate black women, it's just ironic because he wouldn't look at a black woman the same way as his previous like partners and romantic interests.
I never want to judge someone for who they want to date.
Yeah.
But as I always say, like, I find it weird having a preference because there's so many beautiful people in the world that, like, I can't imagine myself being like, I could say for a fact, this race, not one.
Yeah.
And I think the thing that is always so weird to me is like, okay, fair enough. In his defense, he was in a relationship that he was happy in.
Yeah.
So those dates, he really was not trying to even look at those people for in a romantic way. But it felt like every single person who went on a date with a black woman or black person on that show was not looking at them in a romantic way.
No.
And what is the deal? Because on the one hand, they shouldn't have kept on sending him. It was racist of them to keep sending him on dates with black people, knowing he's coupled up with a white girl. Like, it doesn't even. It's not even a case of like you think all black people should date black people. You're saying you're friends with this dude, but you don't know what his type is.
And also that the producers, you are on set, you can see this pattern because a lot of
it wasn't slick.
No,
it wasn't slick at all. No, very obvious.
It was so obvious. A lot of the viewers caught this very quickly. By episode 2, when we had to be doing multiple matches, it was so clear where the line was going. So I don't know. I had my revisionist history in terms of taking back what I said about Dom. I don't think he's a bad guy. I just don't think he is the hero that I've tried to make him out to be on the show.
I think he, like a lot of black men who like white women but don't want to come across as problematic, have learnt language that means that they can be like, I want to be an ally for you, girl.
Yeah.
I want to be an ally for you, sister.
Queen.
It shouldn't be like, I'm not going to be that guy who's like, the thing is, white women are just better. He's never going to do that. But he's not dating black women. So he is certainly reinforcing. Like, I think that's the thing about like where we're at as a society now, is that we're learning words. We're changing the words for racism.
Yeah.
But continuing to perpetuate racism, which is actually just going to make it so much harder for you to understand and be able to navigate when you're experiencing something that's like, oh, this guy just doesn't like me because I'm not his type, and oh, this guy doesn't think anyone like me deserves to be a person that he dates because none of us are his type. How do we know now? Because everyone's learned language. I think you can tell.
Oh, you can tell. If a guy tells me sister or queen or anything like that, I'm like, you've never spoken to a black girl before.
Sure, I just remembered.
Go on.
Do you remember that time we went out and we were like, there were seats.
So Shoreditch.
Yeah. And we sat down, and it was Shoshanna and I, who, for the sake of this story, are both black women, and we were with 2 other friends, one who was mixed race, black white, and one who is Asian of Chinese descent.
Yeah.
And this guy with these group of guys, a group of black guys, who were also sitting in the same area as us. And one guy had tried to move to our Chinese friend. She said, I have a partner, leave me alone. Had then tried to move to our mixed race friend, who said, I have a partner, leave me alone. And then turned to Shoshanna and I and was like, first said to me, I just want to say, I love that you're wearing your natural hair. Bear in mind, I have my hair in braids.
Yeah, no, yeah, braids.
He said, I love that you're wearing your natural hair. I was like, thanks. Then said to Shoshanna, it was very pointed in
it's like, why are you wearing...
Why aren't you embracing your natural hair?
I mean, for reference, I was wearing a wig.
Yeah. The crazy thing is, if you know Shoshanna and I, of our group of friends, we probably are the people that have worn our natural hair for the longest.
Yeah.
And it was just so happened that day you weren't. Yeah. And this guy with the audacity to like scold her, this black man had the audacity to scold her about, I know what he said. He said, real brothers don't like fake hair.
And the irony is that brothers
don't like fake hair.
I would never look at him in a lineup and be like, yeah, you're someone I want to talk to.
That's not even that
with
irony.
With his crusty, disgusting face. I'm sorry.
The face. Shoshanna's still hot about it.
I'm not hot. I'm just like, I don't remember how he looked, but I remember that
he wasn't hot.
He wasn't hot. And I remember that for someone who's talking about hair, his own hair wasn't even groomed or combed.
I didn't think the irony was that. The irony was that he had the audacity to say real brothers don't like girls who have fake hair.
Yeah.
You didn't speak to a single black woman since we saw you in this whole venue, not even including us. I've not seen you speak to a single black woman. So are you a real brother or you're not a real brother? Because it sounds like you're not. Yeah. Because apparently real brother's ex, but you weren't even you're not checking for the black girls. That was what I thought was the irony. It's like, how dare you comment? Oh, and then he said to her, follow up, when she was like, excuse me, his follow up thing was, I bet you date white guys. Shoshanna was gonna rip his throat out. We're like, Shosh, don't do it. Shosh, it's not worth it, Shoshanna.
It really
it's
was.
Not worth it. But it was mad. It was actually a mad conversation because why are you coming so aggressively at her? Like, she did something to you or she rejected you.
I don't know you.
You don't want to go out with her.
Yeah. Honestly, because he spent most of his time speaking to other women who were not black.
He didn't speak to a single black woman.
I
did not see that man. I will testify in court that man did not speak to a single black woman that night.
With the hair texture that he was praising. For the hair texture that he was praising
that I didn't even have at the time. I had Keke twists.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? I don't know if the booze has hit you or what, or your eyes don't work.
I'm telling you,
Shoshanna.
By the time, I did.
She cussed him out.
It was a cussing, and then it was a learning lesson for him. It's a bit of education.
I think he thought he thought he was gonna come here, and he thought this girl dates white guys, so she ain't gonna say pim to me if I start moving mad. And then she said, "Oh, you're moving mad. I can move madder."
Yeah. And the rest of the night, anytime he saw me, he kept on coming to like apologize. I was like, "Look, mate, I don't care. I would never move to you or let you move near me." But in the same breath, that's the kind of energy that you get from some people who has claimed that they're here for black women, but they are not in reality. Let's be honest, they will not be caring about black women. They want to see the same black features on other women from other ethnic minorities, ethnic groups.
Even on top of that, you're cussing her, or you're trying to say as an insult, I bet you date black men. Like, you haven't been trying to move to all the white girls in this.
You date white guys, and all he spent his time doing was moving to the
lack of self-awareness was crazy. Yeah. And he really thought he was going to say that and go about his day and leave you feeling a sense of shame. Yeah. Like, I don't forget about it as often anymore, but like, it was just such a nasty thing that I've never seen. Like, I don't think other races experience. No. Like, I don't think a white girl's out and the white guys come up to her and be like, oh, but you only date black guys. Yeah. And it's like it was mad. It was absolutely mad. A person who you don't even know, who you haven't spoken to, who, because he's tried to move to two other people in the group and they don't want him, is now coming with negative energy towards us, like it's our fault. It's not my fault. That's what white girls don't like you. That's not my fault. I didn't make that happen.
No. Every time we went to Shoreditch or Old Street, it was always wild, and I always hated going to it. Not because of that scene, because perfectly honest, I would take him any day of the week. But I'm just saying, no, because he deserved it. If I was,
and Shoshanna says she's chill. Listen to the energy.
I'm sorry.
Listen to the energy.
I am chill.
This event was almost 10 years ago. This is the energy.
No, so it's ironic. I was actually thinking about that event like recently. I don't know why.
So you're still hot about it?
No, I'm not. I was thinking about like when I last wore a wig, and then
was that the last time?
No,
really got to you.
The last time I wore was the pandemic. Again, we're not gonna have the hair and follicles.
Let's not do it.
Yeah, but I stopped wearing wigs during the pandemic because I was getting sick and tired of having to throw my wig on during meetings and video calls, and I realised I just prefer having it in braids on my natural hair, which is currently where it is now. But it made me think about that time, because I think you asked me one time when I said, "Oh, I've stopped wearing wigs," and you said, "Oh, is it because of what happened in Shoreditch?" I was like, "No, it's just I just don't like wearing wigs anymore because I just."
But that would be a traumatic.
It would, yeah. For some people, that is traumatic. Don't get me wrong. And then I thought I went harping back to when you asked me that question, and then I thought about the event. So it was like almost a ripple effect of
actually
memory.
It is actually bad.
Yeah, but the thing is, I do love
white men.
I do love wigs. I do love like how beautiful it can transform you. And on that note, we're gonna have to move on. Actually, before we do, should we just rate Perfect Match?
2
out of 10.
Oh, out of 10. I thought we'd do out of 5.
Oh, out of 5. Sorry, out of 5.
2.5. It had. I'm going back to 2. The message behind it, bad.
Yeah.
Morally bad.
Yeah.
And the couples, ingenuous.
Yeah.
Did I enjoy the experience? Honestly, that last chunk, not very much.
The last batch wasn't as great. It was a lot going on.
It's just unpleasant.
A lot going on, and
as I said in the last podcast, it genuinely was making me feel like, how could I ever date? People are not
wild.
They just want they have bad intentions. That's it.
I would also give it a 2 out of 5. And I love these type of genres in terms of dating shows. And I love the premise of it, because I think it's smart that Netflix is looking at their range of reality shows and thinking, we have so much talent in our arsenal with all these shows. Why can't we bring them together? The problem is with this type of shows is that you brought in villains, like a lot of villains from these shows. Actually, Chase, I would say he wasn't a villain on his show. That was a bit of a surprise.
Well, he's not a villain. He's a vigilante.
He's a vigilante now. So, but then you brought in the Bartis and the Shanes of the world. Will. It just didn't end up happening and working as well as it should have. I think it was trying to definitely take the leaf out of Love Island.
I think Damien came out of it less of a villain.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. I mean, he still gives... I think he was still giving ick energy.
Oh, no, I don't think you could do anything about that. That's just how he looks. But
yeah. But I
feel like you came out of it and you thought, well, Francesca really played him.
Yeah.
But then again, I don't know. Like I said,
it's
how do you not have eyes?
Yeah.
I honestly feel like men in general, they just don't have eyes.
No.
Like they see what they want to see.
Yeah, he was lost at that point.
Him, Dom.
Yeah.
Like, just, you're not using your... Shaq.
Yeah.
You're not using your eyes properly.
Yeah, come on.
The girlie doesn't like you.
No. So the premise and the theory of the show, I like. The practicality and the way it was executed, I question. The whole idea of like the matching aspect, it became less of a dating show for love and more of a social experiment. And for me, that's where it lost me. And I wish there was more romantic couples that came out of the show. As far as we know, only one did, with Carousel and Joey, TBC. We don't know. But they may still be engaged. But everyone else, they broke up so quickly. I think it was filmed very, very quickly. And so it wasn't enough time to form those connections. And I think because you had to pair up every single day, I don't think you had enough time to really understand and build those relationships. So for me, I'll give it 2 out of 5. I would hope it comes back again, but they just really refine who they bring on. And plus, also, like, if you're bringing people on dating shows, let them have taste beyond just one type of preference. All the black girlies don't come on. Just just save yourself the heartache
I
because
just think
it's
the
just
energy
ridiculous.
is so rotten. Like,
Honestly.
if you're a person of colour at all, good luck.
Yeah.
If you're black, extra good luck.
Yeah.
Like, the black people don't want you. The white people don't want you. There's no one else either.
Yeah.
Like, they don't bring enough Asian people on the show. They don't bring enough Mexican people on the show. They don't bring enough anything else.
Yeah.
So that even if it was like, oh, I actually would want to date you, I'm not on the show to date you.
No.
I'm
And
not on the show.
bring more international. So I loved Inez. Inez was one of my favourite characters. She's from the Circle France. Bring people from other parts of the world because I think you'll see the perspective may change. TBC. But
and I even think that was weird. Like, it's weird that the shows, like, the person that for me ended up being the breakout star was Inez, but the nature of the show meant that, like, she got nothing for it, which is weird because I genuinely think she was the only person playing the game properly.
Yeah.
Or trying to play the game
Or she was
properly.
looking for love, and that's what the mismatch was, because you have some people there looking for love and you have some people there looking for a good time. And even the prize wasn't announced. Like, there wasn't like a big cash prize. The prize was you go on holiday to anywhere you want with your perfect match.
Yeah,
and
it
if
was
I was,
shit, actually.
yeah, I was gonna say, and if I was, we're going somewhere expensive, baby.
I'm sure the Maldives are expensive.
Yeah, I was gonna say, true.
I'd go somewhere that is hard to get to, like
I wanna-
Madagascar or
yeah,
something. Like something that
you
you
know
have to
what?
take 8 flights to get to.
I want a unique experience. Take me to Antarctica.
Well, no, I don't want to do
Take
that.
me
Why are you
to-
going to be gone for? You're going to be gone
Yeah,
at
but
home.
at least I can say I've been to Antarctica.
Okay.
And like
Very romantic.
Yeah, but look, they're not here for romance. I'm so keen to know how long they stay together.
Not long at all, because they're not together.
No. And also, in the same breath, I don't need the reunion from this show because the last episode alone was giving me
That
the
was the
vibe.
reunion, yeah.
And do you know what? I don't hate it. I think it was really well crafted.
If I never see Chase again,
That's fine.
that is actually
Yeah,
perfect, because
yeah.
he was driving me mad.
Yeah.
Very, very bad energy for someone who's barely on the show.
No, he
And
wanted
I
time.
mean, we can get lost.
Yeah, he wanted time
But
to shine.
the villains on the show had a lot of like, how dare you vote me off? But it's like,
Yeah.
you're a villain, you're not here for good intentions
Oh, I
anyway.
don't know.
Why are you
I
upset
don't
so
know.
much? Fucking loser.
no.
He also wore the most insane outfit that day that he came in. I was like, why is he dressed like a 12-year-old? Wearing tiny little shorts, a tiny jacket, and like a bag, one of those, you know, those man bags that boys used to wear in like 2012. What is happening?
I
And a bucket hat.
Yeah, I was confused.
How old are you? I don't know.
I don't know.
Do you know what it really gave me that thing of like, you know when you're hot and so you don't have good style because people have told you you're hot, you can wear whatever.
Yeah.
That's what it gave. I was like, oh, you're also not that hot. Sorry.
No.
If
no,
we ranked all the mixed race boys on this show,
you're not.
you're not even in the
And
top
the
5.
worst thing, Bartis will be above you.
Yeah, for sure.
You're just in I'm back alone. His back off was good.
Yeah, I mean,
I didn't have time to stare at it because I was just loading him.
Barty's conventionally more attractive
I'm actually gonna check him out now. He's not my type.
than Chase, for sure.
Yeah, no, Chase.
Sorry, Chase.
No, Chase was giving me
Sorry, Chase.
dickish energy. But yeah, let's just see what happens. Like if the show comes back again, and then when they film it, because it has to be very tactical, because they can't show it when you can't be showing this show, or you can't be filming this show when some of these shows are airing, because you need to have a nice surprise that these guys are crazy.
Yeah. If you already know that the person's going to be on another show, you know that it didn't work out for them as well. So
Exactly, yeah.
it doesn't really work.
Yeah.
Speaking of things that don't work,
Oh,
shall we get to the review of the week?
let's do it. So our review for this week is Couples Therapy Series 3. This is the 3rd season, of course. It's on BBC iPlayer, initially from Showtime in the US. And this premise of couples therapy is basically you have a relationship and sex therapist called Dr Orna, who is advising 4 couples throughout the course of the series. Each couple has their own backstory, how they've met, how they've come together, how long they've been together, and also why they are in therapy. Usually it's for a problem or issue that they're facing in their relationship, and over the course of the series you start to kind of peel the layers and understand more about what caused that root of that relationship. We've always loved this show, like series 1 and series 2. As I said, in the last podcast, it has a special place on this podcast because we started our test run of what this podcast could look like based on reviewing the first 2 seasons.
Yeah.
And it's something that we just end up just really gravitating to and talking about, especially in this world of the dating shows like The Love is Blind and most recently Perfect Match. So
yeah,
it's a really interesting premise. It's now in its 3rd season, and we are introduced to a new batch of couples who we'll go into in more detail. And I'll just say their names now so that we can just start off. So we had Ping and Will, who have been together for 7 years. We had Molly and Josh, who have been together for 19 years. We had India and Dale, who have been together for 8 years. And we had Sin and Yaya, who have been together for 18 years, but married for 8 with 2 kids. So there's a lot of backstory given with these couples, and we'll go through each couple and just discuss.
Yeah. Should we start with Ping and Will?
Let's do that.
I'm going to say that my theme for a lot of these couples, aside from Sin and Yaya actually, was that things had already gone too far before they come to couples therapy in the cruelty with which they talk to each other. Yeah. And Ping specifically had absolutely no patience for Will, and I found it really, really hard. Like in the previous seasons, I've always been able to... There's a moment, there's a turning point in each of those couples where you get to see underneath the hood of the person who you think is the nightmare. And as Shoshanna was saying, the thing that I think gripped us when we first sort of watched it and wanted to discuss it was that on an episode by episode basis, the bad guy kept on shifting.
Yeah.
Or the impulse within us to be like, you're the bad guy, you're the good guy. With Ping and Will, I don't doubt for a second that he winds her up.
Yeah.
But the way in which she speaks to him and about him is so to me, so low.
Yeah.
That I don't think that going to therapy is the answer. No. I think you have to become a completely different person, because I just don't think you should be... He tells a story at one point about his mum, his relationship with his mum, and Orna asks her, what do you feel about the story he's told? And she was like, honestly, I just thought, shut up and stop whining.
Yeah, that...
My mum put me out of a window. Yeah. And it just felt like, oh, the problem really is you think you've had a much harder life than him, and you think you're the person with legitimate issues, and everything that he has to say is him whining, is him being a bitch, is him going on about nothing, is him being inattentive. Like, she can't find a single nice word to talk about her husband with.
And you never hit a single compliment throughout the whole
she
of the time.
She can't stand him. Was the impression I got in episode 1. Yeah. And even at episode 9 when we left, nothing had changed. No. I do not think that woman likes him.
No. And so, for context with this relationship, they started as an open relationship. And throughout the course of their relationship and after they got married, they were still going through a kind of idea that they will have an open relationship where each individual could have a extra... I was going to say dalliance, and that's the wrong word. But like, they can have an extra partner as long as it's probably just more physical. You're not doing the romantic things that you expect in a relationship.
Yeah.
However, Pink flags that although they had set rules, like things like, you know,
couldn't go for walks
together, or I was gonna say
weirdly
dinner.
Specific.
Yeah, it was like, it was really like
how often do you go to walk with
I know.
people?
I think it was very like, you can't have an emotional relationship with this person. You can have a physical relationship. But she starts to notice that the stipulations that Will was giving to her, he wasn't adhering to himself, and so he starts to have more of an emotional relationship with some of his external partners.
Wasn't it also that, like, at the beginning, she was seeing people and he wasn't seeing as many people?
Yeah.
Which is why he set the rules. But once he started dating people, suddenly he was like, oh, rules don't apply to me.
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting just for context, because it's like, you're saying you're in an open relationship, but you're doing the open and I'm
close. Yeah. So the whole dynamic was interesting, and then I also noted that there was a 12 years difference between them.
Yeah.
And Ping, I'm assuming Ping was older.
Yeah, she was.
And you could see in the way that she spoke to him, there was a condescending tone with the way that she communicated with him, as if I am the adult and you're the child. And I think there's a moment where, just before the pandemic, they were deciding, I think Will wants to go to Korea.
Yeah.
And they discussed that she would go with him and teach English.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, he ended up going and she didn't. And he stayed there for an extra year and a half. And I think a lot of that is due to the pandemic because borders were closed. And when he returned back from Korea to America, she said that she didn't know him. He was a complete stranger.
Like he was a different person.
And like that probably, to me, that was the beginning of the end. If you're leaving, I know that the pandemic didn't help, but you're leaving without your partner for this extended period of time, and it sounds like there wasn't enough communication built during that period, even though they were distant, to make sure that when he came back, it wasn't going to be so odd that she's like, I don't know who this guy is.
They also didn't explain. I'm genuinely so curious. You and I sit down to make a plan. Like, you and I, even as friends, sit down to make a plan that we're going to go to Korea. At what point does it become clear to me that you're not going to come?
Yes.
Right?
Exactly.
If I'm messaging you, let's book hotels, and I'm hearing silence, that would be probably the time that I'm clocking something's up. We need to have a conversation. So I'm really curious as to how it got to a point where he was able to make it to the airport and she wasn't coming.
Yeah.
And whether it was earlier than that. And was a conversation had? Because if the plan was for both of us to go and I turn around and I say I'm not going, did he then say, well, I'm going regardless?
Yeah.
And then continue to plan the trip, and then she was just sitting at home? They didn't really explain.
No, and I think they kind of brushed over it.
They made it seem like he thought she was coming all the way up until the end, and then at the airport she was like, I ain't coming.
Or and then she thought it was like, oh well, we didn't actually properly agree, but he just booked everything and left. So it sounds like there was a miscommunication between the two of them. But that being said,
do you
but
miscommunicate something like that? We lived together.
I'm
not
one
booking
I can't
flights without you. You're my husband. We probably have a shared bank account. How can I book a flight and not book yours?
And Korea's expensive. Let's just say this.
So either I booked both our flights and then you said I'm not coming, or
you booked and said I'm going anyway.
Yeah.
And that wasn't explained, and what we got was one person saying one thing and the other person saying the other. But I think that there was probably issue before he went to Korea anyway, because the fact that you were able to leave so quickly, or leave and have that disagreement, and knowing that you were going to go away for such a long period of time, because you weren't going to just go there for a holiday, and then unfortunately the pandemic ended up, making it probably that period longer. It just didn't help the relationship, and it was probably going downhill before they could even stop it.
I wonder if it's like, going back to the idea that she's 12 years older than him.
Yeah.
A stipulation when they got married was like, oh, and then one day we'd travel. I'd love to travel the world. Yeah, I'll come with you. But she was hoping we'll get married and we'll settle down and he won't want to go anymore.
Yeah.
And he still wanted to go. So she let him.
Yeah.
But then felt resentful that she'd let him.
He left, and then,
Like, I couldn't get my head around it. But it felt very much like that, from that point onwards, things have been garbage.
Yeah.
Like, I think even the open relationship stuff they could have got past.
Yeah.
But the going away for a year and a half.
And then you coming back and you're a completely different person.
Like, I'm so curious as to how you get to a place with your actual husband.
And like you said, you go to the airport. Did you even say goodbye to him?
Like,
did you say,
what is the deal?
Did you say you're going to meet up with him? Like, what was the agreement?
Honestly, which is what I'm saying. We need more context for the story.
No.
Because I don't... And you're packing your bags in our house that we live in.
I think...
And I'm watching you pack a bag for a year and a half. No. And I'm not saying anything.
No, I think maybe it's supposed to be 6 months, and then the pandemic really just messed it up. But either way, it's still a significant period of time.
But even that... If we are planning to go to Korea for 6 months, certain things need to happen, right? Yeah. Where we live, who's going to pay our rent, all of that. Yes. These are all conversations we need to have. So I'm really not understanding how or where it became clear that she wasn't going to come, and he continued regardless.
That's part of, either it ended up on the cutting room floor and never saw the light of day, or it wasn't explained. But I can't imagine Dr. Orna not saying, I think watching their relationship with Dr. Orna and this couple in particular was very interesting. And something that I had not noticed in these 3 seasons. Firstly, one thing that was flagged was with this couple, they've gone to therapy quite a few times. And
This was the same with...
Molly and... No.
In the first season, the guy who I was like, he's a nightmare, and the woman seems really sweet.
The Italian guy. Yeah.
They've been to
multiple different therapists. And I think you notice that, or what was implied was, you get to a certain point in therapy and you're hitting the breakthrough, but it starts to become too real, and then that's when they push back. Or I think what Dr. Orna said, I think maybe Ping and Will both said it, that it gets to a point where, Will said this, it gets to a point where the therapist says something that offends Ping, and then she's over it.
Yeah.
And she closes off. And Ping is someone that I get the impression that she's very much an absolute. Like, she will use that absolute, like, I will never do this. I will never forgive you. I will never accept this. Or you always do this.
Yeah. And
having discussions with people that only use absolutes can become so draining, because
it's not a discussion.
Yeah, it's not a discussion. It's an end point, and that is
them
it.
telling you how they feel, and then you just have to hear it.
Yeah, and there's no compromise, and that's the issue in these types of relationships. You need to have compromise.
Shoshanna and I were talking a few weeks back, and I told her a story about how I was having a conversation with my sibling, and she said something that was like an absolute, and that was super triggering for me in the moment, because I'm going to come back on that because it's simply not true. Yeah. But what that person wants when they say the absolute is for you to not question it. Yeah. It's for you to go, I'm sorry, and accept it. And depending on what kind of person you are, you recognise that, and that's what you do. Or if you're me, you go, absolutely fucking not. I'm so sorry. You can be mad at me for something I've done, but you can't be mad at me for something I didn't do. Yeah. And I didn't do that. No. And that's simply not true. So we're not about to do that. Actually, now I'm upset.
Yeah. I've had disagreements with people, like, siblings, family, where they like a good absolute to kind of end the discussion. And it's taken me quite a few years to notice that behaviour. And I think they've got to a point where, like, someone used an absolute to me, and I said, if you continue talking like that, you're going to regret it. Because
that's an absolute.
That is it's absolute. Because I was giving them right back, like, you're saying something that you can't turn back from. Yeah. And you are going to regret this, because you are closing up a conversation, you're closing up an opportunity for us to find a resolution. Yeah. And if you're always going to use the always, or the evers, or the nevers, and use those type of wording, you can't come back from it. So I would advise you to stop while you're ahead. Like, stop while you have the space to be able to backtrack. And that is an absolute, and that is good to... That's I find with this show, and even when we talk about it, sometimes when you're watching a show, you get read yourself. Like, the joke is like with the Bible, like when you read the Bible reads you. Like, I was watching this show, and sometimes I felt like I was getting read, and things that I've noticed, things that I've done, things that I've seen with other people, and there were some people that I related to on this show, and we can go into it in a bit more detail.
Yeah, there was a point where they were talking about the dynamic, we'll come to them, of Molly and Josh particularly, and there's a whole trend of men who are unable to articulate what they want and what they need, who then date women who are very, very loud about what their wants and their needs are. And the dance is, you will help me figure out what it is I need by your pushing and pushing and prodding and prodding. But it puts all of the weight and emphasis on the woman. And I was like, that's so interesting, because I feel like that trope of like a strong woman and you need a quiet man is exactly that thing, which is like, actually what it means is that you're doing the heavy lifting in every single part of your life constantly, and it never stops. And that's what you think you want, because you're like, I'm loud, I'm loud, I'm loud. But really, if you were with someone who could equally communicate, you wouldn't need to be as loud.
Exactly. When we go to Molly and Josh, I did have a point, because I thought of you as I was watching that couple.
We didn't need to be so loud.
Exactly. Because I remember you saying, and if for the lads that have heard our podcast and our previous episodes, you know that Marnie has said many a times she likes a guy who is quiet. Like, don't talk. But Josh, we will go into Molly and Josh. But we'll go into them, because Josh is the epitome of like, he does not talk, and that is the problem.
100%. Right.
And Will, if we're going
for context of my don't talk thing is specifically in a social context.
Okay.
Where I don't like men who get in women's business.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't like men who feel the need to talk for the sake of talking.
Yeah.
But in this context, which is about feelings, of course you want someone who is able to articulate how they feel. And I feel like when we make these silly little jokes, we are accidentally communicating sometimes to people that, what she wants is like a submissive man. And it's like, actually, me more than anyone, I'm not very good at articulating my feelings. So if you're not good at articulating your feelings, both of us are sitting here stewing, fuming, but we can't explain why we're fuming. And then the next thing you know, I've packed my bags and I've left because I actually can't handle this. I don't want to be with you anymore. And that's so interesting. To me, the most interesting thing about watching this show is that when they started to describe the situations they're in, I'm like, I would have left.
Oh, fam!
I'm not going to couples therapy with you. I'm packing my bags immediately. I don't need this. I actually don't need this. I don't need this. Where Ping and Will are at, I never touch wood. I never want to be in a situation where I talk about my husband like that, or my husband talks to me like that.
No.
I'm lucky. I was thinking about this when I was walking here. I don't have a lot of role models in terms of relationships, but what I've been quite lucky about is I haven't ever been around people who are in a dysfunctional, functional relationship where that's how they talk to each other. Yeah. Like, people in my family, they don't talk to each other, period. Like, they'll be like, that's my wife, and the two of them have never been in the same room together. That's how they do things. Like, we just operate like we're not a couple.
Yeah.
I've never seen people be like, in the one breath, I love you. In the other, you're scum.
Oh, my goodness.
You ain't never going to be nothing. Of course your mum didn't like you. You're annoying and whiny.
No.
What?
And so this is the thing.
What are you talking about? I never want to... I've been friends with a lot of my friends for like 20 plus years.
Yeah.
You could probably count on your hands the amount of things I've said to you that is like deeply, I don't talk like that.
No.
I don't think that's cute. If I felt that way about you, we're not friends.
No.
I could not lie in a bed with you if I thought, ultimately, I think you're a whiny bitch.
Honestly, if you're speaking to someone like that, the hatred you feel...
You don't like them
at
You
all.
don't like them.
Because,
I talk to my sibling like that.
The Bible says, I don't mean to go back to the Bible, but the Bible does say, out of the heart the mouth speaks. So if you honestly are speaking to someone in a demeaning, condescending, mean way, that is how your heart feels towards them. And that's how I felt when I was watching Ping and Will, where... you could just tell by her demeanour, her facial expression.
She look at him.
She couldn't stand him. And I think what I found interesting with Dr. Orna that she hadn't done in 3 seasons was, one, she had to check her.
Yeah.
And I've never seen Dr. Orna to go to a patient and say, you have to stop. And
you're being too disrespectful.
And she wasn't just being disrespectful to Will, she was being disrespectful to the doctor. So, like, that's when Dr. Orna was like, I'm going to set a boundary here. You have worked with other therapists and you've been able to... I'm not saying that,
they've allowed her.
Yeah. But you can't speak to me the same way you have other therapists and expect this relationship to go on, especially given that this is in front of the cameras. Like, this is actual... You've come to this show for therapy. We didn't need you, you needed us. Because there was plenty of other couples, I'm assuming, that applied.
Yes.
And then there was another thing that Dr. Orna did, and she has been doing... She did in series 2, where you could see that she had a advisor that she would work with, and then actually this one it expanded to a whole advisory group, which I loved.
I really liked it too.
Yeah, we can talk about that in some of the other couples.
But
when she was speaking to her advisor, it was clear that she had to have a new approach with this couple. Like, how do you try and get into Ping's head and break down her walls? And I think one of the things that she started to identify with the couple was this cycle where Ping will always start any issue with an insult. So she'll speak to Will with an insult. Will retract, become helpless. Like, you could tell in his voice and his demeanour, he was out.
Just leave.
No. And then the fact that he's retracting will make Ping even more angry and make her feel like she's been abandoned by Will, which is ironic. And then her response would then be to insult. So you're back at this cycle, and I had to write it down because it was such an interesting idea where she was like, you are now you've created this cycle where you are seeing the cause and effect, or the cause and response from what you're doing.
I think the other thing that was interesting as well about Dr. Orna in this couple in particular was that when she was speaking to her like peer support or peer review, so the same person that she usually spoke to in the earlier seasons, she said like, it's very clear to me that these two people should not be together, but I don't think it's my place. Like, what is my place as a therapist? Like, I can't say to them, I don't believe it's my place to say to them, wrap this up. Yeah. But equally, we can't have had 12 or so sessions and nothing has changed. Yeah. And I either will ask you to come back for another 12. Like, it's quite clear to me, and it should be clear to you based on the way this is going, that this hasn't got legs anymore. And I thought that was really interesting, because you're right. When we first started talking about couples therapy, I started reflecting on my relationship with my therapist. And like, my therapist never tells me what to do. Yeah. Like, I don't think she is allowed to. Yeah. She will hold space for me to make a decision. Like, if I've said to her, oh, I've been thinking about X at work, she'll be like, next week, why don't we talk about what it would be like for you to explore either outcome of that thing. And I might leave that session with a game plan, but my therapist will never be like, go to work and tell them X. Yeah. Break up with your boyfriend, sack your sister. She would never tell me stuff like that. No. And it must be difficult, because when you have a relationship with someone who's been giving them therapy for a long time, it must be difficult to like hold back the desire to just be like, okay, on this one thing, I do think you should stop talking to him. Yeah.
That's hard. And that was actually a surprise when she was like, especially when you got towards the end of the season and it was clear where the resolution of the couple was going to go. Spoiler alert, they announced they were going to get a divorce. But it was surprising that Dr. Orna even told the advisor, like, I think they should be together. Which, I mean, how many times have we have friends who will talk about their relationships and then you know, like, this is bad news. Or you watch something on TikTok and they talk about a dating story and you're like, at this point, I would have left. Yeah. At this point, this story should have ended before it even started, type of thing. But you never want to say it. And it was really surprising just to hear her perspective and saying this couple shouldn't really be a thing. Yeah. Knowing that, of course, therapists would probably think like,
they're regular people.
Like, they are people, and you know, if they were your friends, or like, I mean, your therapist is your friend, but I'm saying that if they knew you outside of this dynamic of therapist and client, it would be different. They'll tell you like, no, you should leave them. I would advise you to leave him or leave her. Whereas in this environment, it's up to you, and you're given the space to find it yourself. Yeah. And I think what she did help in what she could do and what she was able to do was perhaps help Ping identify some of the roots of her own issues, and she kept on going back into the inner child and like how she felt how Ping, when she was younger, she felt neglected and abandoned. And I think there's a lot of work on inner child that I don't know too much about. I know is a type of approach with therapy which I've heard on some shows, but I have not gone into too much detailed research about it. But I think she was helping her with like finding books so she can read up more about how to approach that inner child in her and what kind of things that she could do as like a resolution, even though she cannot change the past. Yeah, but then Will had some flags about that.
Yeah, there was a great moment actually where they were talking, and I think Ping was saying that she, wanted to be seen by Will, and now she feels like she's not seen by Will, and Orna just says like, no one person can fix you. Like, you're desperate for Will to see. You're desperate for Will to see you because when you were a child you weren't seen. But it's not this. There is nothing that Will can do that will undo the fact that you weren't seen then. You have to heal from that thing. And you can't ask or expect anybody to save you. And I was like, that is such a real piece of information that, like, I think I was like 27, 28 until I really understood what that meant. I feel like you hear that and you go, I get it. I'm not asking people to save me though. But you are sometimes when you are trying to replicate situations or behaviours or relationships that you've had in the past in the hope that they do heal you. Like, are you pursuing men who are like your dad because you want this time for your dad to do the thing that he didn't do when you were a kid? That won't fix the fact that your dad didn't do it. Actually, it might even make the situation worse because you're like, well, this guy could do it, but you couldn't, so now I want to be for you. Like, you actually have to heal because you are walking around with all these open wounds, expecting one other human being
to fix you,
to fix all of those wounds, and they simply can't because they don't even know what they're supposed to be fixing in the first place.
And that's where you find there are some people that get into relationships. And they're getting into the relationship for the wrong reason of, like, this person's going to heal me, this person's going to fix me, this person's going to complete me, my other half. And it's nothing wrong with that saying, but I think it has this very interesting like messaging about the whole other half and completing you. When you should be completing yourself, and then you meet someone else who's also whole, and then you can combine and build as a relationship together, not the other person trying to fix you, because that can be draining for the other person. And you see this with Ping and Will, where Ping needs that support in terms of addressing some of the issues that she faced when she was younger, and expecting Will to do it, and he doesn't even know those issues. So he's coming in thinking, you know, this is my wife, I love her to bits, we have this open relationship, but we have these clear, like, boundaries as to what we can do, but we care a lot about each other. And then seeing that actually, no, my wife has to control X, Y, and Z because of some of the issues that she faced when she was growing up, or my wife is keen for me to always be there because she's faced so much abandonment when she was younger, and those stuff are not communicated. And he's wondering, why is this relationship feel like such hard work, even though relationships are, but why does it feel like I'm working towards a milestone that I would never reach because the other person has not been able to communicate it because they don't even know themselves.
I think that's specifically the problem with trying to with dating with all those wounds is that, like, you don't know the thing yourself, but you are gonna demand it of this person without demanding it, right? You've got all these wounds from your daddy issues or whatever. This is a really simplified version because you can have mommy issues, you can have sibling issues, you can have whatever issues, right? You've got all these wounds that you don't even realise you have. And then you are putting these unhealthy expectations on this stranger you've met which are in response to those wounds, but you don't know they're in response to those wounds. So you can't even communicate. You're just saying to them, I expect you to, when I get home from work, like, don't be looking at your phone, spend all your time, give me all your energy. Because when you was a kid, you never got that. But that person is being like, that's unreasonable. You work, I work, so you're allowed to look at your phone and I'm not. And you guys are going to bump heads, and you're going to not understand why you're being unreasonable. You're going to think it's perfectly reasonable what I'm asking, because that's what I need. And they're going to be like, this is unreasonable for anybody. And it's also, you're not giving me the things that I need. And we're just doing this. But the thing that's crazy about Ping and Will is that they got married.
I know. They said together 7 years.
None of this had come up before you got married. You got married, like, the very last thing that happens with the two of them is that Ping tells this story about how they went out for dinner and it was really nice, and she was looking at Will, just trying to look at Will to connect with him, and he winked at her in a goofy way and that really fucking pissed her off. And he goes, and then Orna said, and how was that, like, what's your version of this story? And Will was like, we were at dinner at this place that we'd always wanted to go to. I look up, she's staring at me in a flirtatious way, so I wink at her. And it's weird because I've always been like this. And then Orna was like, I think what she's trying to communicate is she now wants something else from you. But isn't that unfair to have married someone who was one thing and then to have got 7 years in and realised, actually, I want something else, become something else, and that person is just like, I can't.
Yeah. Or he, yeah.
Why do I need to?
Yeah, and also I feel like he's also, it sounds like he's not even been part of the journey of her growth.
No,
and so
he has his own problems and she has his own problems.
Yeah.
So as Orna said, they both clearly still need therapy, but not together.
That, because when I was watching that couple, as well as there was another couple, with Molly and Josh, I kept on thinking, I really hope that they're having therapy separately alongside the couple's therapy, because there are individual things that need to be addressed.
Should we move on to Molly and Josh?
We should. I will say, the last thing I was going to say is, and I think it's a similar actually no, this is a theme that I think was only consistent with this couple, was how they are perceiving themselves or how they portray themselves in the therapy room versus at home.
Mm-hmm.
And I think towards the end of the time on the show and the series, you know, Dr. Orna is able to kind of almost break ping and try and identify what the root of the issue is, and it advises her with books, and she starts to read this, and you know, she's trying to do the work basically. And Will turns around and says, you know, it's great that she's doing the work.
Yeah.
I'm just not seeing anything come from it.
Yeah.
And how she's presenting herself in the room with Dr. Orna, where she is starting to show emotion, starting to almost break down. Behind closed doors, it's still the same thing. And of course, like, therapy, like any type of treatment, takes time for it to come into fruition and for you to see the impacts and the effects of it. Yeah. But it was very interesting that he identified that, like, look, there's someone that comes into the therapy room, there's someone that's coming to speak to Dr. Orna, and there's someone else that's leaving, and he's facing that person in the back, behind the scenes, and and that is added to the fact that this is not a relationship that's going to work. It doesn't help that the therapy room has loads of cameras set up, but it's still...
I think everyone probably, to some extent, is a slightly more polished version of themselves in the therapy. I think you're probably, you know, I'm not saying you're not an honest version of yourself, but you're an honest version of yourself. Even that honesty is a bit curated. I'm not telling you like
every single thing that happens.
Yeah, sometimes you're going to therapy, you're like, I don't want to actually be here today. So I'm going to be a bit standoffish because I just don't want to be here, or I'm fucking tired, I don't want to do this, but it's therapy time, so I need to get into therapy mode. How are you feeling? I have been feeling a bit exhausted. I've been feeling like you're the way that you wouldn't usually be. Like you're not having starting every conversation with like, where am I emotionally right now? Like you don't speak like that. So it's not a wonder that she comes in there and she's like, here's all the learning and thoughts I've been having over the time, and maybe she genuinely has been having those thoughts and that understanding, but she still hasn't figured out a way to communicate that to her partner. No. So all he's seeing is the same thing he was seeing before, which is that you seem to hate my guts. And you still seem to hate my guts. Yeah.
And that's why, unfortunately, or maybe fortunately for them, they're heading to divorce, but...
They should never, I'm going to be honest. Like, now I'm just going to say something like, it's like, we've been very respectful and lovely and commented on stuff, but like the two of them strike me as two people who, even from the first time I saw them, had no business getting married. Like, I don't see it for you. No, I didn't really understand the relationship. No. And the pairing. No. I'm sure it was very loving at the beginning. I think it was solely about the open relationship thing. Yeah. Because she said, I hadn't explored really sexually, and I thought this was going to be my opportunity to do that. Yeah, but then you shouldn't have got married. Yeah. Honestly. Yep. Honestly. Anyway, let's move on to Molly and Josh. Yeah. So, Molly and Josh have been together for 19 years, and they have 2 kids. This couple, I have to be honest, was wild. In terms of the backstory was wild. What they first opened with, in episode 1, I remember feeling like there was so much that needed to be unpacked, because all they said was there was infidelity on both sides, but they covered up true feelings around each person's response around the infidelity. And another thing they said was, we've experienced everything you could throw at a marriage, and we're still here. I mean, when she said, like, what does that mean? Yeah, when she said that, I was like, you either have to go into detail now, or just don't make a claim like that. And then, throughout the course of the season, they really explained that they have been thrown with a number of circumstances that you would never wish on any person or couple. And the fact that they are still
they're still able to sit down and have couple therapy is something that you have to thank God, because
I think they're a really interesting, as we get into it, I think they're a really interesting couple for being in couples therapy, because given what happened with them, I feel like you don't have a choice but to go to couples therapy if you decide to stay together.
But also individual therapy.
Yeah, if you decide to stay together, because
yeah.
I was trying to get my head around it on the train here, and I couldn't rack my brains around it.
Yeah.
But let's get into it.
So the backstory was, Molly had experienced miscarriages for her first child when they got married, and Molly felt
before their first child.
So excuse me, and Molly felt that Josh was quite distant, as she was kind of trying to cope and also process what had happened. When she got pregnant with her third child,
who would be their first child technically?
No, the third child, Josh cheated.
Their third child. Oh right, okay, so skipped a bit.
Skip. Yeah, so sorry. Skip forward to they've had 2 children by this point. She gets pregnant with their third child, and she finds out that Josh had an emotional affair with someone else, or they called it an emotional relationship.
An inappropriate relationship that was emotional. Yeah,
AKA he cheated. When I wrote my notes down, I just wrote Josh cheated.
Yeah, but it wasn't physical.
But it wasn't physical. Yeah. Sometimes I know people discuss what is worse. I mean, they're all bad.
Yeah, we've discussed this before. I'm sure.
Yeah. No, I think we debated.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we debated the last time we.
What's worse?
Yeah. Then this is where it starts to get wild. So once you found out that Josh had cheated emotionally with someone else, she then tried to get rid of the child as a form of spite. And then in certain episodes, I think they discussed that they had agreed to abort the baby because they didn't think they were in a space to have a third child. But I would love to get your take on this, because I was getting so confused about this whole point, because either way, she aborted the child.
Yeah.
As she was trying to abort the child, I think the doctor had prescribed her Percocet to help with the abortion aspect, and I think for pain relief. I think that's what Percocet is used for.
Yeah, it is. It's a painkiller.
And then she became addicted to Percocet and
crashed her car
into a tree, not too far from their house, their family home. And then she have to go to rehab? I can't remember what else. Then after that whole situation, she was feeling incredibly low, and she just needed someone to give her the space for her to process again all these traumatic things that were happening in her marriage. And she then found someone and had an affair herself. She had an affair with a woman that she had first had a relationship with at high school.
Yeah.
And that's where it makes sense when they started off the episode saying that there's been infidelity on both sides. I think that
on her side twice.
On her side was twice, because it was the first person after the Percocet addiction, and then the second time with the woman that she had a relationship at high school, and that relationship was for a lot longer.
Wait, so the first person was the yoga student?
Oh yes, I thought the
yoga student was after the woman.
Which one did she have a relationship with for over a year? Because she said that it was one person she was having a
relationship.
The
yoga student. I think the first affair was the woman that she went to high school with.
Okay.
And I think the second one was with the yoga student, because that one was more recent.
Okay, yeah, because there was one that had literally just finished the year before.
Yeah, but then she'd stopped seeing him. But then, from Josh's version of it, he would reach out to her, and she would talk to him.
The instructor, yeah.
Yeah. And then he would come, something would happen, and then the most recent thing was that the kid, or the student, I'm calling him the kid, the student, had come to their city to see her. And she was telling Josh, oh, how random.
And Josh had said, please don't go and see him.
Yeah, and then she was like, oh, you're never going to be able to get past the fact that I cheated on you. I was like, yeah, because it's the fucking dude that you cheated on me with.
Yeah, why are you going to see him? Honestly.
Why are you even telling me this? Why are you telling me this?
So the order of the relationship, the order of these issues and events were at times even mind-boggling throughout the series.
I thought it was really I thought that she had the abortion, their first child.
No, it was the third one.
Okay,
because I think that by that point they were discussing whether they wanted to have a third child.
That makes more sense. Because I was thinking, it's crazy, because she'd said she'd had a bunch of miscarriages. The way I heard it, she'd had a bunch of miscarriages. Then when she finally got pregnant, he had the emotional affair, and then that's why she wanted to abort the baby. And I thought, after all the miscarriages, this feels crazy.
Yeah, it was definitely for the third child. So yeah, that whole situation shows how many things that had built up over the course of their marriage, and as a result of the infidelities and also the lack of trust that had been broken on both sides, they were just trying to keep the peace basically in the relationship. So they weren't really talking about how either one felt about the infidelities on either side. And I think Molly was worried that if they ever really kind of peeled underneath, or like peeled that layer, or went underneath I'm trying to use all these analogies.
Yeah, underneath the hood of the car.
Yeah, exactly. And
they've seen that the engine was gutted.
Yeah, absolute mess. And then Josh will realise that he didn't actually love her.
Throw the whole bin in the bin, car in the bin.
Exactly. And that's when she started crying. She was emotional, like, for most of the season. Yeah, let's go, because I have feelings about this.
She was another person who had to be told to be quiet.
Yeah. Second person, yeah.
And I feel... And she was a person who, as we were talking about earlier, strong women with these men who are quiet or mincing or deliberately put themselves in relationships where they can be, like, spoken over and told what to do and blah, blah, blah. Because that's the dynamic, when he is trying to talk, she's still talking.
Yeah.
She never stops talking.
No.
So where is he supposed to speak?
Yeah. Do you know what I hated it as well? It's like Dr. Orna will ask Josh a question, and within a second, Molly's answering. I think there's a few times I had to say, "Can you please shut up?" Like, she wants to speak to Josh.
Like season 2, Micah.
Yeah, honestly.
Then Dr. Orna would ask Micah a question, and Micah would be like, I'll tell you what he... And then she'd be like, did I ask you? Did I actually ask you?
And again, I think that was the advice from her, Dr. Orna's advisor, was you need to speak to Will. Like, you need to hear from him. How does he feel? But then
Josh.
Sorry, how does Josh feel? And even when Dr. Orna will ask Josh, like, how are you feeling? He'll be like, I'm fine. And then turn to Molly for her to complete the rest of the story, or her to complete the rest of the sentence. Like, that's why Dr. Orna had to, like, really flag, like, no, I'm speaking to you.
Yeah.
Tell me what you feel.
Just like the Micah thing, I think it's one of those cycles, like the ping cycle, where it's like, you don't speak, so your overbearing wife feels the need to speak to fill that silence. Because she's speaking, you don't speak. And because you're not speaking, she speaks even more. And that's the cycle.
Yeah.
So at some point, you can't tell anymore who is cutting off who and who is just not giving and forcing the other person. Because you're right. If I ask you a question and you don't answer, then you look to me, I'm going to answer for you, because I'm assuming you're saying, I don't have anything to say, can you speak? And I'm happy to take that on, because in the nature of our relationship, I'm the person who speaks. But if we're at therapy now, and the whole point is for you to speak, you need to speak. Yeah. So I can't speak for you. But if this is what we do, of course we're going to come in here and do what we usually do. Yeah. That's the problem, isn't it? It's become so normal that we don't even realise we're doing it. No. I don't think Molly knew or could even clock that she was speaking over her husband and answering questions for her husband. No. It's just what we do.
Yeah. And it's just, for me, I found it frustrating to watch a couple who can't communicate, because I actually even understand some of Molly's frustration, where she tries to speak up, like build a conversation or hear things from Will, and all he does is communicate in non-verbal cues. Now, the way that Molly exaggerates things and flies off the handle, I don't agree with, but I do understand that you need to have a mutual understanding in terms of communication.
But why would I speak if I feel like everything I'm going to say, you're going to jump down my throat? That's what I mean about it's a snake eating its own tail, because I'm anticipating you're going to be mad at me. That's why I'm not speaking. But then you're mad at me because I'm not speaking. But then I'm not speaking because you're mad.
Yeah.
And you're mad because I'm not speaking. But then I'm not speaking because it never stops.
Yeah.
And there was clearly a point where this was not the case, because I can't believe that she said, I'm going to marry a man who gives me nothing. No chat whatsoever. There was a point where this was not the case. And now so much shit has happened that we can't talk, because if I was to open my mouth, this entire thing will come crashing down. And that is what, when he eventually does speak, Josh says. Stuff has happened here that it feels like the easier thing to do is just to leave it alone.
Yeah, sweep it under the carpet. It's very British.
Yeah.
For Americans.
Molly, on the other hand, is like, I'm tired of, basically, she was like, I'm tired of feeling guilty. I'm tired of this being in this energy where you don't trust me. So let's talk about it and have it be done. But what you also can't do is force someone to be over or ready to talk to you about something that they're not ready to talk to you about. I still need time to gather my thoughts. Maybe I'm still in the camp of, I don't even know if I want to keep doing this with you. But you're saying to me every minute, no, you need to make a decision, you need to get over it. You need to get over it, you need to get over it, you need to get over it. I'm not going to. That's not going to work, is it? You're yelling at me, it's not going to make me do that. So it's better if we just don't talk about it.
And I do also understand that. And it wasn't mentioned too much, but Molly and Josh, of course, they have 2 kids. And there is that parenting aspect to it. You saw it in a lot of the B-roll that happened during or in between of the therapy sessions. And so some of that keeping the peace is really to keep the peace and have that facade or that image that you share with your kids. Them arguing and fighting about this affair, which the kids will now see, isn't always the ideal image you want to portray to the kids. But the fact that they're not communicating would make them close to divorce, I'll be honest. Because there's so much stuff that's happened between them. I don't know how either one of them has forgiven each other. I'm hoping they have, but that's just not clear. And by the time you get to the end of the sessions, you can tell that there's still work to be done, like a lot of work to be done. And Dr. Orna has given some foundation as to what they can think about, what books they can read. But this couple, I'm praying for them because I really need it. So much has happened.
I'm going to be honest, I also couldn't see what it is that they were desperate to stay with each other for. Like, what do you like about each other? Because it sounds like what you want and have pursued twice now is someone different to your husband.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing I was saying about Ping and Will. Your hope, like, when Dr. Orna says, well, maybe what Ping wants in this moment is something different from what you're giving her, go get it somewhere else then.
Yeah.
Because you are not doing yourself you're doing yourself a disservice if you know that you want something that person cannot give you.
Yeah.
Now, either you're miserable every day, you're feeling unfulfilled, or you're yelling at them every day, so they feel miserable and unfulfilled. Yeah. At some point, somebody has to put their hands up and be like, we can't do this anymore.
No. I mean...
And not for the reasons that, the way that Molly was putting it, which is like, I'm tired, I don't want to feel guilty for the rest of my life. Yeah. It's not wanting to feel guilty for the rest of your life. I think the truth of it is, I cannot reassure you right now that you can trust me, because the thing that I'm looking for, you still don't have.
No.
The thing that I need, you don't have. So, the thing that made me cheat on you twice, I'll probably cheat on you again.
Oh, when you say the thing that you don't have, you mean like a vagina?
No, because the second person she cheated on was a man.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
She cheated with was a man. I'm talking about whether it's the verbal communication about how they feel about her, whether it's just being open, excited. It seems like a communication thing. People who are open with their feelings. If that is what you want, if that's what arouses you, if that's what you find attractive, and your husband can't give that to you, you are doing him and yourself an injury. Yeah. Because you're going to cheat on him again and break his heart, or you're going to be miserable every single day that you're with him. Yeah. Who is this fair to? Yeah. It's definitely not fair to your kids. No. So why are you staying together? I felt with them more than I felt with Ping and Will that there was a underlying basic level of liking each other. Yeah. I think when they told their story about how they got together, it was genuine, like, I really liked you, you really liked me. With Ping and Will, the story was, I wanted to be in an open relationship.
Yeah.
I don't think you like old dude.
No.
But with the Molly Josh thing, I just think my version of the abortion story felt worse. This version doesn't feel as bad, but like having an abortion because you're not ready for you don't think you guys should have another kid is one thing. Having an abortion because you're mad at him is another. That's what I was trying to figure out on the way here is there a situation where I found out my partner is having an emotional affair and I decided we shouldn't have a child? And that for me is me saying, I don't want to have any children with you. At the point where you've already had 2 kids, I think that thought process is different because you can have done something, you could be capable of doing something shitty to me and also be a very good dad. Yeah. And I've had 2 kids with you, so clearly I think you're a good enough dad, surely. The emotional thing we can maybe get past, or we need to decide we're going to get past. The answer can't be I get a Percocet addiction, crash my car, cheat on you twice. No. That can't be the answer. No. Or the response, even. No.
The interesting thing, in episode 7, there is a response because the 2 of them argue. And I mean, it's a shouting match. And Dr. Orna stays so quiet. And I think it was so vital that she did because it allowed the couple to talk, even if it's just in shouts, allowed them to express how they really felt. And even though episode 8, Dr. Orna announces that Molly and Josh didn't want to have therapy for the next session, I felt like it shook something basically in their relationship of what they can do if they really want to make it work. But this couple, it's fascinating. There's so much story. I kind of said that I want to make it into a drama because how much is going on.
I don't know about you, but I just found Molly really annoying. Yeah, I wonder if it's because in that dynamic I'm the Molly rather than the Josh. So it's like 2 Mollys would be unbearable. Yeah. That's why it's so interesting that she's like trying to push him to be more vocal. It's like you'd find that really annoying too.
But I found Josh annoying as well from his lack of communication. Like, you've been in places where you've had to make small talk, and small talk can be so infuriating.
No, I get it. It's annoying, but I did not blame him because I was like, I just don't know. I feel like if I was him, I also wouldn't talk. Yeah. One thing I'm not going to do is get tricked into a shouting match with you because you asked me to respond to a question which I responded to and now you're mad at the response. Leave me alone, bro. Leave me alone. Like, it's not making sense to me. Like, one of the arguments she said that they had was they have a family, like, schedule and everyone had to pick a pen for the colour for their events. And he said, pick whichever one you want. And she was mad about that. And I get it, because she was like, you never say anything, why don't you just eat? Can't even commit to a colour. But, like, why are we fighting over pens? Yeah. Like, in this one instance, it genuinely doesn't matter what colour you give him.
And if you think that he's I'm going to say your perfect match, like, it's a dating show. But if you think that he is your person, you need to just communicate that to him. And sometimes you're expecting that the other person may not know as much as you do, but you could.
And also, I feel like if maybe he's one of those people that's like, you make a decision for him, and if he doesn't like it, he goes, I don't like that, and he changes it to something that he wants. Yeah. It's annoying because it's like, why didn't you just say that at the beginning? But who's it hurting?
That's what. I mean, that's what would help the couple in the future. And I think after you leave after they left the session, it was clear that there were some steps they needed to take as a couple. It's not perfect, and I'm so happy that they appreciate, like, there's 12 weeks or 8 weeks of therapy. It's not going to cure everything. But yeah, that was Molly and Josh.
So I think we end part 1 here. Yeah. Because as you can see, we have a lot of takes on these couples.
So many.
And we'll pick up next week with the last 2 couples.
Sounds good.
And that gives you guys time to catch up on couples therapy if you haven't already.
Definitely worth a watch. So, yeah.
Watch the. You've got time now to watch the early seasons as well because they're absolutely brilliant. Yeah. There are some standout couples on there with, like, just people that you're like, I don't even know how you found a lover, let alone a wife. Yeah, check those out, and we'll talk about the rest of season 3 next week.
Yeah. Well, this has been Scripts and Giggles with Shoshanna
And Dr. Marnie.
How long have we been thinking about that?
I will conclude this session next week, okay?
I'm so done. Anyway.
Light and love.
Yeah.
And
Bye.
when you take a deep breath as you go out of this room. Just exhale all of that energy. Go home. Clean hearts. Smiles. Can't lose. Friday night lights. You know
More
what I'm saying.
Wednesday night lights, depending on when you listen to this. But anyway. Thanks, guys. Lads. Bye.
Bye. Mwah.